all of our Zoom applicants.
Are we live right now?
We are live right now.
Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. All individuals entering city-operated facilities, including City Hall, are required to wear a non-medical face mask. Those at the table are not required to wear masks while sitting, as long as they're distanced 6 feet from anyone else. Once you leave your seat at the table, you must put your mask back on. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness such as coughing or sneezing. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we're requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Please note, when you join the meeting via Zoom, all participants will be in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you into the room. You can watch the hearing live via the city's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, you can continue to watch the hearing live via the city's Board of Revision YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio player now. My name is Lynn Nesbitt, and I am chairing the meeting today. My colleagues on the panel are Bill Moretsky and Gisela Rempel. Our recording secretary is Brendan Harris, and our assessors are Drew Thiessen and Nancy Flockton. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with the applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And use of cell phones is not permitted except by approval by the chair. And if you do have a cell phone with you, please turn it to silent or turn it off. Thank you. So now, Brendan, if you could swear in the assessors and our first applicant. And we'll start our hearing today by number 2 on the agenda, 659 Home Street. And our applicant is Sylvia Blazina. Are you here, Ms. Blazina? Oh.
Yes, I am.
Okay. We'll just swear you in first, and then we'll get started, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Drew, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, our assessor. Can I get you to unmute your microphone, please?
Can't hear.
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go. So please state your full name.
Drew Thiessen?
And do you swear that the evidence that you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And Sylvia, please state your full name.
Silvia Cristiane Coller Blazina.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then could you also swear in on others?
Oh, yes. That was Nancy.
Yes,
Please state your full name.
Nancy Blockton.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. So we'll start by 659 Home Street. Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready, you can take us through your evidence. And Ms. Blazina, when he's done, you can ask him some questions about the information he's presented, and then we'll move to your presentation, okay?
Okay.
I can't hear anything.
Mr. Thiessen, go ahead, please. Mr. Thiessen, go ahead, please.
Might have to unplug it and put it back in.
We can hear him now.
Unplug what?
Now he's off. That's right. I know they're in the same office.
Can you message him?
Sorry, I can't hear anything on my speakers.
I can hear you now.
Hear you now, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Blockton, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm on a different computer than him. Unplug that and plug it back in.
I still don't hear his. Can anyone speak so I can hear something possibly?
Because we can hear you.
Might want to switch computers.
Usually it's the computer, you have to restart the computer. You have your evidence in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You want to move to that computer? Not that.
Okay, I'm just switching to this computer. Hopefully this will work.
Yeah, we can hear you now. All right, welcome back, everyone. We'll just resume this session of the Board of Revision, and my apologies. And thank you very much for everyone's patience and understanding as we're going through these technical issues. Our applicant for 659 Home Street has not yet connected with us. So just to keep things moving along, I think we'll move to our next applicant, which is 71 Lusted Avenue and Fraser Young. Okay. Mr. Young, we'll just get you sworn in first
absolutely.
before we get going.
So please state your full name.
Fraser William Young.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Welcome and have a seat, and thank you again for your patience.
Distributed all these back copies here?
Brendan? We have copies?
I've got copies for the assessors as well, but I'm guessing.
That's great. We'll take them too.
All right, there's all that.
Okay, Mr. Thiessen, are you ready with 71 Lusted Avenue?
Yes.
Okay, if you could speak up a little bit, please, and we'll get going.
Sure thing. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. 71 Lusted Avenue, roll number 14000707000. It's located in North Point, Douglas. It's a 1 3/4 story home built in 1898. Living area is 1731 square feet. Has a full basement. The basement is not finished. Has one full bathroom and one half bathroom with one shower. Does not have central air conditioning, no fireplaces. Has a detached single car garage, and has a land influence of being near a community or a rec club. And it's on an external corner. The lot size is 3270 square feet. And we have the 2020 assessed value at 173,000. The comps are all in North Point, Douglas as well. They are all 1 3/4 story buildings. They range in year built from 1902 to 1932. The living area ranges from 1386 square feet to 1834 square feet. The only property here that has a finished basement is Comp 1. That is actually only a small bathroom. It is not actually a full finished basement in any way. The bathroom counts do vary slightly from the subject, and Comps 3 and 4 do not have garages. The lot sizes range from 3268 square feet to 5158 square feet. Comp 1 has a commercial adjacent influence and a light traffic influence, and Comp 2 has a back lane and a school influence. The other two do not have any influences at all. The time adjusted sale prices range for these comps from 176,300 to 192,800, and that is a range of per square foot between 97.96 per square foot to 127.20 square foot. It is for this that I believe that the 2020 assessment rule at 173,000 is supported.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Mr. Young, do you have any questions of the assessor?
I do not have any questions for the assessor.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
Yes, I'm wondering if you could tell me the impact of the land influences on this property versus the comparisons that you have. I noticed that there's a community club and a recreation building, and that the property is on an external corner. What kind of impact do you feel that might have on the value of the assessment of this property?
I don't know the exact value influence that would be the difference between each of these properties having or not having. So I can't really specify with a quantity.
Would you say these are negative influences or positive influences?
The community club is not really an influence for negative or positive. It is kind of a subjective thing in the market. External corner is a negative, and the commercial adjacent is negative. Light traffic influence would be a negative. Back lane is not necessarily anything, and school sort of the same thing.
Thank you. I'm also wondering, I see that this is the oldest of the comparisons that you have listed, and it looks like there hasn't been much done in terms of any kind of upgrades to this home.
There have been upgrades to all of these properties to varying degrees. In the case of this property, there were kitchen, bathroom, and electrical updates done roughly 10 years ago. And for the other properties, there's basically similar upgrades done to them as well. None of them are incredibly updated. They're fairly similar.
That's all my.
Mr. Moretsky, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yeah, just referring to the map again there, what is that space there between the property and the river? What is in that space there? Can you clarify that for me?
Are you talking about like by Rover Avenue?
Well, Beaconsfield Street is right next to a big piece of property or a space there. What is in that space? Right next to the river.
Oh, on Beaconsfield. I am not actually entirely sure.
It's Mikael's Park. It's a park with community center.
Okay, so that's the community center.
Yeah, the community center is closer to the southeast corner, and the rest, the northwest there is park.
Yeah, just just to clarify the age again of the house. Effective year built is 1938, correct?
Correct, yes.
And that's based on what?
That's based on the upgrades that have occurred over time. Most recently being the kitchen and bathroom with the hardwood floors, windows, electrical all being updated.
So it's lower than the comparables.
It is
comparable by a lot, actually. Yeah, some of them by a lot. Correct.
Yeah, it is lower than the comparables, but as you can see, it is also an older build than the comparables. So there is that to consider as well.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay, and I actually have no further questions. And just to let you know, Mr. Thiessen, we've now lost your video.
Oh, wonderful.
We can hear you, but we've lost your video. Okay. Okay, Mr. Young, when you're ready, you can proceed with your presentation. Thank you.
Sure. So I'm presenting this appeal for the assessment increase on my property at 71 Lusted Avenue. It's in North Point, Douglas, Market Region 4. The assessment of my property was recently increased from $73,000 to $173,000. I think this increase is excessive and I'm seeking to have it reduced. So I've got a quote here for foundation work that is needed. For everybody here, that paper can be found near the back of the packet I provided, as well as some information on 5 comparable properties. In comparing these properties, use the metrics of size, age, location, property features or land influences, as well as some proximity of services. So similar features here, I used houses that have a living area within 20% of the square footage of my own property's living area. Houses that were built prior to 1915 to keep in with the age of my home at 1898, and that were within neighborhoods near Point Douglas. So I've got 5 homes here: 456 Stella Avenue, 132 Lauren Avenue, 533 Magna Street, 340 Magna Street, and 460 Manitoba. All of these 5 properties that are lower than the assessed value of my property, as per the 2018 sales book posted on the City of Winnipeg's Assessment and Taxation website. All 5 properties are within the same market region of Market Region 4, Inner City. They're being presented showing the entry in the 2018 sales book to provide a comparison of market value with reference to April 1st, 2018. And I've also included the property assessment details of each property as taken from the City of Winnipeg Assessment and Taxation website. This is to compare property features and not to refer to the assessed value of the property, which I understand the Board of Revision does not consider evidence. Lastly, I've included screen captures from Google Maps just to highlight proximity of services for each property. Also in each comparison, I've included the price per square foot of both the living and the land area as metrics. I arrived at this number by dividing the time-adjusted sales price of the property as per the 2018 sales book by the square footage of the living area and land area respectively, which is apparently the same way the city does it, which is great. So on the first page here, I've just provided the information for 71 Lusted Avenue to be used as a comparison. 71 Lusted is within walking distance of a park, community center, and school. As per the 2021 assessment roll, it is listed as having both a basement and detached garage. Living area, 1,731 square feet, and land area, 3,270 square feet. Built in 1898, price per square foot, $99.94. That's for the living area, and price per square foot of land area is $52.91. So starting with the first property here at 132 Lauren Avenue, this property is also in North Point, Douglas, very nearby my home at 71 Lusted Avenue. Also within walking distance of the same park and community center, as well as Norquay School. As per the 2021 assessment roll, it also has a basement and detached garage. It is 129 square feet greater in living area, and was built in 1913, which is 15 years after my home. The price per square foot of living area at 132 Lorne is lower by $9.72. It is $90.22, and price per square foot of land area is also lower, only by $1.63. 456 Stella Avenue. This is also close by, albeit not within the North Point Douglas neighborhood. It is in the Dufferin neighborhood. I chose this property because of the fact that it is also adjacent to schools within close walking distance. As per the 2021 assessment roll, the property at 456 Stella also matches my property in having a basement. Built in 1900, very close to the year of 1898. And the assessed land area at 456 Stella is 7,354 square feet, which is more than double that of 71 Lusted. Yet the sales price, time-adjusted sales price, is quite a bit lower, as is the assessed value. The price per square foot of the living area at 456 Stella is $78.57, lower than that at 71 Lusted. The price per square foot of land area at 456 Stella is only $16.90, quite a bit lower than that at 71 Lusted Avenue. Moving on to the third property I have here at 460 Manitoba. 460 Manitoba is within walking distance of both an elementary school and park, similar to 71 Lusted. The property at 460 Manitoba matches 71 Lusted in having a basement. It was built in 1905, 7 years after the build of 71 Lusted, so again, near in age. And the assessed living and land area are both slightly larger than 71 Lusted, albeit not by too much. They're fairly similar in size. Yet the price per square foot of living area at 460 Manitoba is only $73.09. Again, $26.85 lower than that at 71 Lusted. And the price per square foot of land area at 460 Manitoba is $37.45, $15.46 less than that at 71 Lusted. 340 Magnus. Also close by, I believe this has the lowest market value price of all the properties I'm presenting at $105,500. It is within walking distance of an elementary school and park, similar to 71 Lusted, albeit maybe a little bit further. As per the 2021 assessment roll, it matches my property in having a basement and detached garage, but in addition, this property also has a finished basement. The house at 340 Magnus was built in 1907, 9 years after the build of 71 Lusted. And the price per square foot of living area at 340 Magnus is $70.01, $29.93 lower than 71 Lusted Avenue. And the price per square foot of land area at 340 Magnus is $29.63, again, much lower than that at 71 Lusted Avenue. Lastly, I have property at 533 Magnus Avenue. This property is kitty corner to William White School and William White School Park, very similar to my property, just being right across the street from a park. As per the 2021 assessment roll, it matches my property in having a basement, and it also has the property influences of a community club and external corner, similar to mine, but again, market value quite a bit lower. The house at 533 Magnus was built in 1914, so it is a bit newer than that one at 71 Lusted. And the price per square foot of living area at 533 Magnus is $76.32. Again, quite a bit lower by $23.62. And the price per square foot of land area at 533 Magnus is $48.27, just a bit lower than that at 71 Lusted at $4.64. So in all 5 properties there, I believe I've shown that comparable properties within a reasonable distance from my own are having market value considered much lower than the ones presented by the assessor. I'd also like to draw attention to the last 4 pages that I've provided. With these is a proposal by a Larry Tanner, who does foundation work here in Manitoba. Larry came by and gave a quote for the foundation work that is needed at my property. The property has a fieldstone foundation. The mortar between the limestone pieces is beginning to eat away and needs extensive repair. This repair has been quoted at $30,000 due to excavation needed around basement walls and for repairing of mortar joints in the stone walls. I believe that this repair of $30,000 is significant as it affects the foundation of the home and should definitely be considered in the market value of the home. You'll see behind that proposal 3 pictures that I've included of my basement. One showing the wall, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, as well as 2 other pictures that show a little bit more detail. I apologize if the detail is not as clear as it could be. Lighting down there is not great. But you will see that between the the limestone pieces, that there is mortar that is beginning to fall away, that it is not flush and does not create a sort of flat wall surface. So that is the appeal that I'm presenting. I believe that the above property comparisons demonstrate that both in price per square foot of living area and in price per square foot of land area, that 71 Lusted is valued higher than these comparable properties and should effectively be lowered. The average price per square foot of living area of the properties presented, including 71 Lusted, so the average cost of the 5 properties and 71 Lusted per square foot is $81.36. This is roughly $18 less than the $99.94 per square foot that was provided by the assessor, as well as the average cost of land area is less, although I see that the assessor does not include that, so I guess use it if you want to. But more importantly, the number that I've come to is that using the average cost of price per square foot of $81.36 times the square footage of the living area in my home, which is 1,731 square feet, the cost of the house comes out to roughly $140,000. Now, I've also taken the liberty of taking the numbers provided to me by the assessor. The price, time-adjusted sale price per square foot of all 4 comparable properties and my own, I've averaged those out to $106.64. That would make the price of my property at 71 Lusted roughly $184,000. Between $140,000 and $184,000, you're looking at roughly $160,000 being the average between those 2 prices. So I believe that the assessed value of my property should sit somewhere closer to $160,000. That is before taking into account the needed repairs on the foundation walls. So I believe that at $30,000, it is understandable that not all $30,000 would be taken off from the $160,000 price, but I believe it is reasonable to say that roughly 10 to 15 should be, lowering the price to roughly $150,000 for assessed value. So I'm asking that the Board of Revision reduce the assessed value of my property in accordance with the evidence that I have provided to roughly $150,000, as I demonstrated with the evidence before you. And that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Young. Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. Do you happen to know if any of these comps that you've provided have had upgrades done to them similar to your own?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. And have you done anything to your properties? I believe you purchased in 2020, right?
Yes, in May.
Anything to the property since your purchase?
No, I have not.
And for the foundation repair, have you had more than one quote done, or is it just the one?
It is just the one quote.
Okay. I don't believe I have anything further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Rempel?
Thank you for your thoughtful presentation, first of all. Obviously, you've given this a lot of thought and a lot of work. So if I understand correctly, you purchased the home in May of this current year.
Yes, I took possession on May 1st of 2020.
On May 1st. And were you aware of the foundation concerns at the time that you took over the property?
I was, yes. I had the assessment done prior to buying the property.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Mr. Maretsky?
Yeah, for your comparables, you used what's called the 2018 sales book posted on City of Winnipeg.
Yes.
So can you explain to me what that is? I don't know what it is, actually. So
Okay, the 2018 sales book is found on the City of Winnipeg Taxation and Assessment website. As was indicated in the Board of Revision application paperwork that I received in the mail, for your general assessment year, for the 2020 general assessment, the reference date for all sales prices is April 1st, 2018. So the sales book that is found at the Taxation and Assessment Department website is a sales book indicating all sales that were made prior to April 1st, 2018 and after the date of April 1st, 2016. It's a 2-year period, so I guess it gets updated every 2 years. So that sales book includes the information that you see at the top of each of my property pages. I did just a quick cut and paste. So it'll give you the property name, its roll number, whether the house is a 2-story or the size of the house, essentially, the type I think it's called, sales year, sales month, the sales price, and then the time adjusted sales price. And the time adjusted sales price is meant to reflect what it would have sold for on April 1st, 2018. So that is where I took the prices for all of these properties from, as the assessed value for 71 listed at $173,000 is meant to reflect its sale price as of April 1st, 2018.
okay, thanks.
No problem.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had a question about your photographs.
Yes.
When were these photographs taken?
These were taken yesterday.
Yesterday, so
Yeah.
quite current, okay. And, okay, I was just looking for the date of this estimate and I see it's recent as well. Just
Yes.
this last week.
Yes, so,
Okay.
like I had already said, I did have Larry come by the house before purchasing it, just so I knew that there might be work that need to be done on the foundation before I bought it. However, I did have him come back recently, just to reassess and give me a proper number.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Ms. Rempel?
Sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
I did have one other question as I look at my notes here. I believe you had mentioned that the assessment had increased from $73,000 to $173,000?
Yes.
In what period of time would that have been?
When I purchased the house, May 1st, 2020, the assessed value as per the Winnipeg, Assessment and Taxation website, where I got all the information for this appeal, was $73,000. Shortly after purchasing, I don't know the exact date, it would have been probably late May, early June, I received a call from City of Winnipeg asking me some questions about the house, just to update the information about it in order to, reassess its value. And at that time, it was increased from $73,000 to $173,000.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Mr. Thiessen, can you expand on that? Is that the city's practice to contact individuals after the sale or?
It can be. In this case, because of the current COVID situation, if we can't do an inspection right now, we will try to contact owners. Sometimes we also do just verify characteristics through MLS listings. In this case, it was a private sale. So with it being a private sale, we had no MLS listing to verify characteristics from. So we did contact the owner to get an idea of what actually was done.
And the assessment was updated by $100,000?
Well, in this case, it was kitchen and bath renovation completely, hardwood floors refinished, windows redone, electrical redone, and a three-piece bathroom added. So I could.
And that's when you found out about the upgrades at that time?
Yes, all of it was found out through that phone conversation.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Rimple.
I just want to confirm, did you say the upgrades had been done 10 years ago?
From the notes that I have from my coworker speaking with the owner here, he did state that he believed that the upgrades were done 10 years ago, roughly for the kitchen, bathroom, and electrical, but he would be able to probably speak better on that than I would, as he was the one that said when it was done.
Sorry, should I respond to that?
If you wish.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when the previous owners did do those updates. If I said they were done 10 years ago, I probably misspoke. I should have said within the last 10 years, as I don't know exactly when they would have been done. I just know that people who owned the house before me, I believed owned it for 10 to 15 years. So updates would have been done sometime within that window.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your presentation, and you'll be hearing from us soon.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Do we have Miss Blazina back yet? Okay, let's go back to the place. I think we'll just try to power through them all because people have been waiting. Welcome back, Ms. Blazina. Thank you for your patience and understanding of our issues here. So we'll come back and deal with your property now, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready, 659 Home Street, please.
Okay, thank you. 659 Home Street, roll number 13031089-000. It's a bi-level located in the Daniel McIntyre neighborhood. Built in 2019, living area of 910 square feet, has a full basement that is unfinished, has one full bathroom, one half bathroom with a shower, has central air conditioning, no fireplaces, no garages, and the lot size is 2,500 square feet. It is located near a community club or a rec building. It has a commercial influence, and it is on an internal corner. The comparables are in either the Daniel McIntyre neighborhood, like the subject, or with comps 2, 3, and 4 in the nearby St. Matthews neighborhood. The year built for these comps ranges between 2008 to 2017. And the living area ranges from 789 square feet to 988 square feet. 3 of the comparables do have finished basements, comps 1, 2, and 4. The bathroom counts do vary slightly from the subject. None of the properties do have central air conditioning, and comp 2 does have a detached multi-car garage. The lot sizes range from 2344 square feet to 3689 square feet. And 2 of the properties do also have land influences. One, comp 2 has bus route and medium traffic influence, whereas comp 4 has a commercial adjacent, similar to the subject. The time adjusted sale prices range from $223,800 to $272,200, with the time adjusted per square foot being from $275.51 to $308.91. It is my opinion that the 2020 assessment rule at $232,000 is supported for these reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Blazina, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
No, I have not.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky?
No questions.
Okay. Ms. Blazina, onto your presentation, please.
Okay, I didn't make a big research because actually my reply was just about the price that I paid for the house. That was 205,000. So when I received the assessment, I didn't understand why the assessment was so a number so bigger than what I paid for the house. So until now, I just we build a fence for ourselves. So we spend about I don't remember how I put it in the paper. We spent about $2,500 to build a fence, and we also bought the central air conditioning for the house. So I agree that I paid very cheap for the house, so I got a good price. But I don't understand why the amount that I am paying for property tax is so big. Is about 1.3% of the assessment that we made. So this is my biggest concern, why I am paying so much for my property tax.
Okay, I can answer a little bit about your property tax. Your property tax is based on the assessments of your property, but the assessment department doesn't have anything to do with how much tax you spend. That's a City of Winnipeg council decision and a school board decision about how much taxes they're raising from your property. So we are only going to be dealing with the assessed value of your property today and not your taxes, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions of Ms. Blazina's presentation?
Yeah, just I think just one. You purchased in October 2019, and you said that the only things you've done to the property since is installing air conditioner and building a fence?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
Yes, I am wondering, you indicated the fence cost $2,500 that you put up. I'm wondering how much you spent for the air conditioning to get that installed.
It was 2,500 as well.
2,500 as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm wondering if I could go back, Madam Chair, to the assessor for
Of course.
a moment. In the evidence that was presented about the subject property, you indicated they had central air. Has there been some kind of a review of this property since it was purchased?
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't understand.
So I'm asking the assessor.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm asking a question of the assessor.
Yes, so there was a permit pulled for the air conditioner. As a result, I did ensure that the air conditioner was added to the property record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, do you have any questions?
So the list price, list date, June 26, 2019 was 219,900, correct? Sylvia?
Sorry, can you repeat?
The list price for this house was 219,900, July or June 26th of 2019, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then but you got it for less than that?
Yeah. I paid 205,000.
Okay. Now in the picture, it shows like the house is not quite finished yet. Yeah, the picture in the listing shows it's not quite finished yet. Correct? It has no siding on it. It has no landscaping on it.
Yeah.
So, did that price that you paid, did it include the whole house complete? Okay, that includes landscaping, it includes the siding, includes anything else like
any buildings on the land? Like, there's no garage anyways, but. So this is the complete house for $205,000, or was there something you had to buy yourself, like landscape?
I bought the house exactly as is in the announcement. There was no landscaping, no fancy, nothing, no finished basement. So after I bought, we did by ourselves the landscaping and the fancy.
And what was the landscaping worth?
I think about $3,000. We most put stones in all the land, so we didn't make any increasements.
Okay, no further questions.
Thank you, and I have no further questions. Thank you very much, Ms. Blazina. And again, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now go to 115 Brooksmere Trail. And our applicant is Bhavneet Basra. We'll just wait so everybody can get online.
Hello, this is Bhavneet.
Hello, we're just waiting to get a little organized here. We don't have your picture up yet.
Say again, sorry?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, you can see me? Yeah, because the Zoom link didn't work on my phone, so I had to call in.
Okay. Hang on then. Okay.
Hello?
Mr. Basra, we're just going to skip your presentation and move on to the next one because we have some questions we need to ask about your presentation. So if you don't mind just hanging on, we'll move to the next property, okay? And we'll come back to you.
I didn't understand, like, why so? Because you can't hear me, or you can't see me, or what's the reason?
Hang on.
Due to the nature of our process, we normally need you to be on camera so we can affirm your testimony. You're not.
I see.
So while I get that, we're going to go on to the property and then come back to you.
So how will it work now? Like, you guys will send me another Zoom link, or?
I'm not sure. I'll have to email you that information.
So you guys will call me back, or how it works? Because I'm concerned I can't be on phone all day.
No, it'll be just a few minutes. I will email you that information.
Okay, so after this next property, you guys gonna call me back, or?
Yeah, we're gonna come back to you after this next property.
So I just hang up on this.
Okay, in the meantime, 35 Cordova Street, please, Mr. Sean Cates. Is that you? Yeah, okay. We'll just carry on. First, we need to affirm your testimony. You are once you're seated.
So do you affirm that, or please state your full name, Sean Cates. And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And do you have any materials that need to be panel records?
I do. One each for each.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cates.
This is
Thank you. And welcome. All right. Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready, can you give us the particulars of 35 Cordova Street and your presentation, please?
Yes, thank you. 35 Cordova Street, roll number 1206043700. It's located in the Wellington Crescent neighborhood. It is a two one-story building, meaning one part is one story and the other part is a two-story. Year built was 2019. Living area is 2264 square feet. It is a full part basement, so only part of the full structure has a basement beneath it. The basement is not finished. There are two full bathrooms, one half bathroom, one shower, central air conditioning, one fireplace, an attached multi-car garage. The lot size is 6477 square feet, and it has an internal corner land influence. The comparables are located in nearby neighborhoods. Comp 1 is in 631 Wellington Crescent, Comp 2 in 620 North River Heights, in North River Heights for 158 Cordova, Comp 3, and in Crescentwood for 62 Harvard Avenue. They are very nearby. The year built ranges from 1925 to 2010. The older builds have seen significant upgrades to be more similar to the subject property. The living area ranges from 2319 square feet to 2716 square feet. All of the comparables do have finished basements, and the bathroom counts do vary from the subject. Comp 4 does have one extra fireplace, and the garages do vary a little bit between the comps as well. For the lot sizes, they range from 4810 square feet to 11328 square feet. And there are some land influences on Comp 1 and Comp 2. Comp 1 has a light traffic influence, and Comp 2 has a bus route, external corner, and light traffic influence. The time adjusted sale prices do range from $916,800 to $1,334,600, with the time adjusted sale prices per square foot ranging from $371.63 per square foot to $540.32 per square foot. The subject has some heating in the basement that the owner made me aware of that is on the flooring. It is non-structural, but it is an issue. And the subject is a pilot, whereas the other are not pilots. The 2020 assessed value is at $909,000, which I believe the comps do support. Thank you.
Cates, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yeah, a couple questions. The house at 62 Harvard that you're using as a comparable, I believe that was one of the HSC lottery houses. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware of that. It is not really the comparable that I'm weighing the most upon in determining your value, but it is an example of an upscale build in the neighborhood that's similar to your own.
Okay, and I mean, it is on a significant, like double lot size from what we have as a lot, and it is in a completely different neighborhood from what we have. So I know I'm not making an argument with you, I'm asking you questions, but just the fact that this was used as a comparable, do you really feel that this was a true and fair comparable to a house in River Heights?
Like I said, it is the comparable that I have that I am putting the least weight upon. The other comparables are closer to your home, as you can actually see on the map that was included in the evidence. And I feel that those are really better comparables for your property. But like I said, 62 Harvard is a upgraded home in a nearby neighborhood that is a good reflection in a way to the fact that yours is a brand new build versus just a regular home in the neighborhood.
Because to me, I mean, it's as far away as going to Tuxedo and using a house in Tuxedo as a comparable as well. But I guess moving on to 860 Wellington, I mean, is there any thought process or consideration on the fact that it is a house on Wellington Crescent Avenue, which personally I believe has significant value and a 50% greater lot size? And not to mention, every house does have a full basement that is fully finished and usable square footage, where ours has a partial basement which is unfinished, and as you and I have discussed before, and you mentioned to the panel, that it has a heaving issue that needs to be rectified.
Yes, I did take that into consideration. But your house is located just off of Wellington Crescent as well. Like there's the back lane off of Wellington Crescent, which you actually back onto that back lane or side onto that back lane. And as for the basement finishes and lot sizes, I do take that all into consideration in determining the value.
Yeah. Okay. Those were my main questions I had from looking at the comparables. So I can pass this on.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yes, I see that the house was sold August 2nd, 2017. You've got that down here as information for $320,000. And it looks like there may have been a rooming house on the structure from the looks of the permit that is attached. So that had to be taken down, I'm assuming, before this house was put up, this new home was put up. Do we have any idea how much it might have cost for that demolition?
I don't have the demolition permit. Perhaps the appellant could weigh in on that if he is aware.
Okay.
When we get to your presentation, maybe you can answer that question.
Okay. Thank you. That's my only question.
Thank you. Mr. Moratsky, do you have any questions?
Just on the first page of the comparable report, you have a recommendation. It says recommendation to reduce the assessment to blank to better reflect the April 1st, 2018 market value change. Why is that on there?
I just forgot to delete that space. I don't have a recommendation for this property. It is not something to really look at. It is it's standard on the form. If not removed, it is still there. I just forgot to remove it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% clear on that subject sales. So on August 2nd, 2017 for $320,000. So that was the structure that was there before then? That was sold? Yeah.
Yes, it was purchased as a different home, demolished, and then a new home was built in 2019.
Okay, no further question.
I have a question as well. You talked about not putting weight on 62 Harvard as a comparable, but you talked about what might be your best comparable. So which one is that, your best?
403 Oxford is a pretty good comparable in the sense that it is nearby. It is a newer build as well. So rather than being an upgraded old build, it is actually a newer build. However, it was also built in 2010, so there's definitely some depreciation between the time that it was built to now. And then there are also some differences between the properties, like the basement finish and difference of garages and bathroom counts and that nature.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Cates, when you're ready with the presentation, please.
Yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to my arguments here. Drew, thank you for the time that you've spent on the phone with me and everything on the way up till now. I'm making this request for the revision of the assessed value of our home at 35 Cordova Street. The house is a newly constructed home built in 2019 and was assessed by the City of Winnipeg in 2019 for $798,000. In 2020, the assessed value was increased by $111,000 to $909,000. There has been no work done to this house from 19 to 20 besides the completion of the back deck, which was partially finished prior to 2020. Additionally, subsequent to the completion of the home, the sump pump malfunctioned, which resulted in heaving in the floor in the unfinished partial basement. The sub pump has been replaced, although I don't believe it has been fixed, but the cracked concrete and heaving issues have not been dealt with to this date. In the package that I provided you, I do have a quote provided from our builder in what the cost will be to fix the concrete, remove it and replace it, which is $25,000. What I have not received from the builder yet is confirmation that just fixing this is not going to result in another problem. There's a greater underlying issue about water seeping under the house that is creating this heaving issue. The assessed value of $909,000 is significantly higher than several comparable River Heights homes that have recently sold. Attached here to our MLS documents and assessment and taxation information from the City of Winnipeg for 5 River Heights homes, which I believe are more reasonable comparables to our house than what has previously been presented to us today. All these houses have either sold for amounts less than ours or similar to ours, but they do have more usable square footage than our house. So one of the comparables that I'm using, first couple pages of our documents here kind of go through just my verbiage, but then after that I have my write-up on it, and following my write-up is the MLS listings for each one of these houses. So for 185 Cordova, that'd be the 5th page in the package. This house sold for $715,000. It is 2,380 square feet on a lot that is 7,200 square feet. So both the size of the house and the lot are bigger than our house. So this property sold with a partially finished basement, which was a full basement. Ours does have an unfinished partial basement. This property is around 100 square feet larger than ours, excluding the partially finished basement. Additionally, this house has a pool. Although not a new build, this house underwent significant renovations per the attached worksheet. You can see on the page after the MLS listing is what came along with the MLS listing about all the renovations that occurred in this house. The second comparable I'm looking at is 214 Waverly Street, which sold for $750,000. The square footage of this house is 3,228, and it's on a lot size of 7,808. This property sold with a full partially finished basement. Ours has a unfinished partial basement. This property is just shy of 1,000 square feet larger than ours, excluding the partially finished basement. Our house does have an attached garage where this house is detached. And although it's not a new build, it also underwent significant renovations. The next one I'm using here, which I was hesitant to use because it is also a Wellington address, which I think adds value to the property as opposed to being a River Heights address. But this house at 681 Wellington Street sold for $775,000 and has a square footage very similar to ours at 2,329, but it's on a lot size of 21,297. This property does back up onto the Assiniboine River. So this property has a full finished basement. This property is a bungalow. So the finished basement is presumed to add an extra 2,329 usable square footage. As such, this house would then have 4,658 usable square footage, which is 2,394 more usable square footage than our house. This house is 120 foot frontage with a 275 foot depth, making the land, in my calculation, 33,000, although the city has it at 21,297, where our house has 6,477 of the lot size. This house also backs onto the Assiniboine River on Wellington Crescent, as mentioned. I believe this adds value to the property. The next one I'm showing here is 270 Niagara. This one had a selling price of $820,000, square footage of 2,025, and a lot size of 4,410. This property has a full finished basement. Since this is a 2-story house, the finished basement is assumed to add an additional 1,013 usable square footage to the house. As such, this house would then have 3,038 usable square footage, which is 774 more usable square footage than our home. And the last property I'm using has not been sold recently, but it is currently listed. I use this property at 97 Cordova because this is the corner lot house on the opposite end of our block. And this one, per the city, has an assessed value of 629,000. The square footage is smaller at 1,408. The lot size is also smaller at 5,138, and this house was newly constructed for the same year as ours in 2019. So this property is on the same street as ours and it was built in the same year. The house is a bungalow with a fully finished basement that is set up as a second suite, although it's not a duplex. Since this property is a bungalow, the finished basement is assumed to add an additional 1,408 usable square footage. As such, this house would then have 2,816 usable square footage, which would make it 552 more usable square footage than our house. So those were all the comparables I had, all showing similar area of the city, much closer to the areas of some of the comparables that Drew has used. They're all River Heights houses here, all showing selling prices that are less than what we are currently being assessed for, at least in the 2020 year. I should have started with, I have no issues with the previously assessed value of the 798. It is the increase in value that is my issue. And then after that in my presentation, it just goes on to look at some of the comparable houses that the city was using.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cates.
You're welcome.
Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes. So you had mentioned that between 2019 and 2020, that you had finished deck and I think there was a screen room.
The screens were put onto the screen room. So the screen room built
So the deck was added though between the time that you moved in and then the 2020.
The deck was always framed. It just wasn't.
Okay. For the comps, are you aware of like what the extent of the upgrades were? Like I can see some of them are a little bit laid out, but it doesn't really say too much what the true extent of them are. I guess they're listed in the comps or in the MLS listings though as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, the most detail you're going to get is from 185 Waverly Street because that has the full page of what they did and that was included with the MLS listing. All the information I got was from my realtor who provided what he thought were the reasonable comps. So he said everyone that he gave me had significant renovations done that he thought were substantial to the properties that he thought that made it comparable. I had sent you a whole number of newly built comparables, but from our conversation, I believe those were all from 2018 to 2020 or so. So we said we're going to use those, which I think were probably the more reasonable comparables. There weren't as many newly constructed River Heights homes outside of that Beaverbrook project, which all occurred subsequent to the dates we're using there. So if there is any additional information you want, I could talk to my realtor and try to get what you need, but what I have is through the MLS listing and guidance.
The only other real question I have related to that is, so for the finished basements, you were making the assumption that fully finished basement was adding the full area of the footprint of the basement, right?
Yeah, and I know where you're going with this, and you're probably right. There's going to be some mechanical and probably some storage, so probably not.
Okay, I don't think I have further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
Yes, back to my question about the demolition. And I am wondering, you purchased the house, pardon me, August 2nd, 2017 for $320,000, it looks like.
I'll confirm the price. I don't remember the date, but that's
okay.
right in the
because
ballpark.
that's what the subject sales information says in terms of the assessor's presentation. So let's say August. And then the house that was existing had to be demolished.
Yeah, we rented it out for around a year. and we'll determine whether we want to keep it as a rental property or turn it into our personal property.
Okay.
And then, yes, demolished.
And the permit you took out with the city for $580,000 for the new build of your new home, does that include the demolition costs?
Yeah, that was all through the builder.
Okay. And I see you indicate that there was a heating issue in the basement of your new home. And Alaire Homes was the builder?
Yes.
And I see that you have attached an invoice for how much it might cost to repair that, which is just over $25,000. Do you have any kind of warranty from Alaire Homes?
There is warranty, but this is an ongoing issue that has not been resolved yet.
Okay, so you don't know whether this will be covered or not? Is that where we're at right now? Okay, I think
They've done all the other work that was required subsequent to us moving in.
Okay.
This is the only thing that is still outstanding.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Moreski, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Thank you. And I have no questions. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Cates.
Thank
And
you
you'll
guys
be
very much
hearing
for
from
your
us
time.
soon.
Thanks for
And
your time.
again, thank you for your patience today.
The meter let me plug it again, so we're good.
Do we have Mr. Boswell? So we're moving on. Okay. We'll now hear 830 South Drive, David McAngus.
I'm David. I'm McCangus.
I'm going. Thanks, David.
Okay, so if both of you are going to speak, we'll have to affirm both of you
Oh,
to,
Okay, so please stand. And just one at a time here, please state your full name. And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Absolutely. Please state your full name.
David Fraser McCangus.
And do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Perfect. And are there any documents that you'd like to?
I sent the documents this morning to the email that I was supposed to.
we do have them. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That's on or off?
Off, we can take it off as long as you're seated at the table.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you again for your patience
Oh, no
with
problem.
our technical issues, so we'll try to move quickly. We'll start with our assessor. Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready, 830 South Drive.
Okay, 830 South Drive, roll number 0308084900, located in the Crescent Park neighborhood. It's a one-story built in 2019, living area of 3282 square feet. It has a walkout basement that is finished. Has 2 full bathrooms, 3 half bathrooms, 1 shower. Has central air, 2 fireplaces, and an attached multi-car garage. The lot size is 23,671 square feet. The land influences it has, it is on a bus route. It is an external corner, has light traffic influence, and it is a regional park as it backs onto Crescent Drive Park. The comparables, I had to expand my comparables greatly due to the unique nature of the property. So rather than having 4 comparables, I have 9. The comparables are located, comparable 1 in Crescent Park as well, comparable 2 in Minnetonka, 3 Park LaSalle, 4 Norman Park, 5 Minnetonka, 6 Bridgewater Forest, 7 Bridgewater Lakes, and 8 and 9 in Bridgewater Trails. The year built on these ranges between 1946 to 2016. They're all one-story builds. The living area ranges from 2064 square feet to 3768 square feet. None of the properties, except for the ones in Bridgewater, have walkout basements. They are either part basements or full basements. And most of the properties do have finished basements, except for the one on South Drive that is a part basement, so does not have a finish. The bathroom counts do vary between the comparables. Fireplace counts also do vary slightly between the variables, with comp 1, 4, 5, and 8 all having 1 less. Same thing for the garages, they vary slightly. Comp 3 does have an in-ground pool and also a sunroom, and Comp 2 also has a sunroom. The assessed lot size is a range of 9537 square feet to 31108 square feet. 2 of the properties do have Red River influence. Actually, yeah, 2 of them. So Comp 1 and 2. And the Bridgewater properties all have retention pond influence. The other 3 do not have any land influences at all. The time adjusted sale price ranges from $828,800 to $1,287,100. The time adjusted per square foot ranges from $261.62 per square foot to $554.60 per square foot. When I did initially do a review on this property, I did speak with the owner. This is prior to expanding my search. I, at the time, found that the value seemed like it could be lowered closer to about 1.1 million. However, after that, I did expand my search criteria to search for better comparables. And in doing that, I now do believe that a reduction to the assessment of $1,225,000 would be a fair value. And the 2020 assessment rule is currently at $1,496,000.
To go any further, I'll ask Mr. McAngus, do you accept the recommended reduction to $1,225,000?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Thiessen, back to you.
Okay, thank you. The owner did make me aware of a house across the street that he believes to be a derelict property that does not present well and does decrease the value. I do not disagree that it possibly could be a factor in the open market. However, being on South Drive is also a very, very positive influence on the property. While it is not a river lot, it is backing on to Crescent Drive Park. So it is still a very desirable location. And I believe that is all I have. Thank you.
Now to the two Mr. McAnguses. Do you have any?
It'll probably, I brought him along because he's a realtor.
Okay, great.
And,
all right, then to you. Do you have any questions of the assessor?
Just one correction. The derelict house is immediately south of our house, like South Drive and Holly Avenue intersect, and Holly beside my house is an unkept gravel road, and this derelict house is right there. So when you look out from our house, that's what you view. So I think the impact of that house is quite substantial. I've included pictures.
Okay, do you have any questions of?
Well, as the question was, like you said, it was across the street, but it's adjacent. I just want to make sure that you understand it, or that we understand. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's across Holly Street or Holly Avenue.
The gravel road fall. Yeah.
Do you have any further questions of the
Nope,
assessor?
none of this. That's right. I think I'll just like.
Okay,
I'm
we'll see if our panel members have any questions, and then we'll go to
Okay,
you.
I haven't done this before.
Ms. Reppel, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, Mr. Moretsky.
You use those Bridgewater properties, because they were the same year built? Is that why you use those as comparables?
As the property is very unique in the fact that it is a brand new build in an established neighborhood that is also a very desirable neighborhood, being on South Drive. It is very difficult to find good comparable sales that do reflect what this property actually is. So I had to expand into new subdivision just to get an idea of what we would be looking at for a brand new build that is also kind of a desirable neighborhood. With the ones being built on Clear Spring and Rose Lake, those are the higher end streets in Bridgewater. So they do present somewhat of an idea of value if you were to move away from the very desirable South Drive location into another desirable location elsewhere in the south.
So the houses themselves compared pretty well then?
Yeah, they're very upscale builds. So I do believe that they would be a good indication for the comparable style of build to the subject property.
Which, just on the areas themselves, which would you say, in your opinion, is more desirable, the Bridgewater or the Crescent South Drive by the river?
The South Drive, 742 South Drive, it is not really truly that great of a comparable because it is.
No, sorry, I didn't clarify my question. Just the subject property, the area that it's in compared to the Bridgewater area, which would you say is more desirable?
It's tough to say. I mean, it's subjective. Any owner might decide that they want to be one place or the other. But typically speaking, South Drive, once you get on to South Drive, you probably don't move, which was something actually that the owner himself did mention to me in a phone conversation as well.
No further questions.
Thank you, and I have no further questions. Mr. McCangus, when you're ready with your presentation.
I wasn't sure just if I could ask about like when they use things like Rose Lake Court and things like that. Am I allowed to comment on how I disagree that those are non-comparables? That's what I got. Okay. Well, I use those ones. They're the most expensive ones. They are in Bridgewater. They back onto a retention lake with nobody having access to the back of them, so they're completely private in the back. They also have a park in front of them. So how we could consider, and then all the houses in the area are all new. South Drive, again, we took down we've lived there for 35 years, we took down our house, built our new house, but the building stock across the street is like $400,000 houses and things like that. It's not, I just don't see the relevance of the comparable. I was able to find comparables in Fort Garry and with the same condition as what we have, where it's on South Drive, but not on the river. On Kilkenny Drive, which has the same, the houses on one side of Kilkenny, the river is way behind them, just like what it is, like the river's 400 yards behind our house. And on Kilkenny, there's a reserve behind the houses. And those houses are more comparable. They're in Fort Garry. They're not in Well, some of these other ones are in St. Vital. I don't even see the relevance of St. Vital to where we are here. And those houses are more relevant. And I think as a comparable, I have two that were sold in 2018. I can't get the April 1 date exactly right, but one sold for $580, and it's a big house of, where's the square footage here? 3,200. And the other one sold for $815, and it's a large house in ground pool, the whole deal, with the reserve behind it, not on the river. So when I look at that, those are in Fort Garry, they are comparable. One of the other comparables that were used was Rue Trapeze, or D Trapeze in St. Norbert. And I find this one this one is actually more comparable. It's 3,700 square feet. It's got a 31,000 square foot lot. It sold in 2016 for $930,000. The city's, or it's been time adjusted up to $985 to be 2018. But on May 7th, 2018, it sold for $125,000 less than that. So how do we get a comparable when we know that it's not even, I mean, that to time adjust something that you know in 37 days past April 1, it goes down $125,000 in value. I just don't see it being there. In the past, I've been able to, I don't think they really do it anymore, but with our other house, when there's reassessments, you could go to the community club and there'd be an assessor there and you'd go through your house. And I had the same argument every year that I went, was that, yes, I'm on South Drive, but I don't back onto the river. It makes a huge difference. I've gone to, other than my brother, I've gone to other realtors, and the most glaring one is Cole Castling, lives on South Drive. It's hard to get a guy to write a letter when he lives on South Drive on a river lot, where he tells you that that a non-riverfront property on South Drive is worth 50% less than a riverfront property. And he's sold, it's in your package. He has sold 99 houses of the 108 houses that have been sold on multiple times on South Drive. So I take his influence or knowing the market well. And recently, 759 South Drive was sold. That's a non-river lot, but 100-foot frontage lot, $388,000. 790 South Drive, river lot, sold for $802,000. Both of which are being demolished, and they're just being. Those are the lot values. So I'm having a difficult time understanding how our lot gets up to that. I also had Chris Pennycook look at it, and Glenn Williams. They all had varying opinions. Chris was 25 to 40% more valuable than green space, and Glenn Williams was basically 100% more valuable. That's all in your notes. Yeah, you have all those. The other thing that happens with our house too, it's nice to be backing onto the park. I agree with that, but it's not like backing on these lakes that we're talking about, these other river lots. People walk, like our fence is like 40 feet behind our house, and people walk their dogs there. There's no privacy. It's not like being on the lake in Bridgewater or any of those, where it's yours right down to the geese come in and all. We don't have that. So that's basically, and the house beside is a real eyesore. I mean, over the years we've had to have exterminators there, and the Humane Society. It's been a nightmare, and it is. But I did say to Drew when I talked to him, because initially when I would talk to Drew, I was down. We were at 1.1. I went away and I said, I should really send these pictures of this house because, in my opinion, that dramatically affects me. sent the pictures of the house. We had a discussion. He says, well, now I'm leaning to 1.2. I go, how can that be? I asked the question, if you took that broken down house, because we're all talking about the theory of this and time dated of that and all that. So we took that broken down house and plunked it between two houses in South Drive. Would it affect the value of either one of those houses? I say yes. He'd really comment back to me. So that's basically it in a nutshell. My wife and I, we originally wrote a letter July 22nd when we put this thing together. The existing house we had was a nice house. We raised our family in it. We decided that we wanted to stay there, but we wanted a retirement home that would work for us. And that was why we took it down. But the house that we had, it had two interior wood burning fireplaces that had an outdoor wood burning fireplace with a gazebo, 3 full bathrooms, 5 bedrooms. And so and it was, my work is Winnipeg building. So we renovate houses. That's what I do. So it was up to snuff. And so I just took the square footage of it compared to the square footage of the new one. They both had walkout basements. And I increased the square footage. And the oldest assessment was 660. This one's 43% larger. Granted, it's new, but it just wouldn't drive the number it would on the river. And I was looking at a value of 943,000, which is up 300,000 roughly from where our other house was. But let's say we've lived there our whole lives. It's not a whole lives, 35 years with them. So I think that's about all I have to say. I just don't see these comparables even being in the zone. I just don't. Like somewhere in St. Patel, like I know it's an oddball situation, but they just don't. The only one again is the one where it's time adjusted up, and it's a 31,000 square foot lot. That's 37. That's
this drop piece, right?
Yeah. And in fact, it sold for 860, not 985. So the numbers are wrong. Is there anything else to say? I know that I can't use assessed values for whatever reason I can't, but I did do a simple calculation. I took all the houses between Holly and Crane Avenue, and then I took all the houses between Crane Avenue and Douker. Crane and Douker are on the river. Holly and Crane are backing onto the park. And there's roughly a $450,000 difference on those assessments from one block to the next, one being on the river, one not being on the river. And all these houses over the years have all been renovated right to the top end. I mean, they're so they are comparable, and they're all sort of they're 1965, 1960 houses, but they've been redone. They're
on the north side, yeah. No.
On the riverside, on the north side. Yeah. And I think that's it. So I'm looking for 950, 945. So we're a ways apart.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
So what did you pay to build the house?
I built it myself. I haven't even finished it. And I don't think what it cost me to build it is relevant. It's what it would sell for.
Yeah, I don't think according to the municipal order, you can't use cost of post.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I don't think you can use a cost of post, can you? I don't think that's you feel is about it. It's all about market value, isn't it?
Okay, I was just curious what the build cost was. I do have the permit for $1 million.
Yeah, they write in, the city writes in $1 million. I built it for substantially less.
Okay.
And I built it to what I wanted it to be. That doesn't mean it's going to transfer to someone else in the open market. I said, we built it as a retirement home, which is different than a family home. And so I may have overbuilt on the lot, but that's my loss when I go to sell it hopefully when I'm 85.
So you would agree that South Drive is a very desirable location because you did want to retire on that street in that location.
Well, I've lived there my entire life, but the term you used to me when we were discussing before, you kept on referring to it as the prestige of South Drive. Well, the people right across the street from me, their houses are between $350,000 and $450,000. Do you just make one side of the street prestige? I'm like, I like it because, as I say, we've lived there. And as you said, there was no, you don't have any comparable sales because all the people on our block, except for the one at Crane Avenue, who I don't know the guy, they've been there for about 10 years. We've all lived there for over 35 years. So to say, just because we just chose to live there, I don't know. It's not the prestige of the lot. It's like we like where we are. I mean, it's not. I don't think prestige should come into it.
But the difference is prestige. The river lots are more prestige. If you're talking prestigious, then
if you move, the farther you move north, and actually once you get past Delta, then those houses are much more prestigious. They're beautiful treed lots. They're gorgeous old homes that have been completely redone. There's just no comparison to those. Like even the one you've used. I mean, that house was completely renovated, and the lot is worth over $800,000, and it's, you've got it at $875. I mean, I don't follow. It doesn't make sense.
that would make more of a case for your 945.
It would make more of a case for my 945 rather than the other one.
So, looking at the information that you provided here, I see a lot of it is after April 1st of 2018.
Yes.
Like the only sale I see here that was actually in that reference period was 822 Kilkenny.
Yes.
Okay.
But okay, go ahead.
So relating to 822 Kilkenny, it looks like it has some updates, but it is an older home and it doesn't really present as a fully updated home like something like a new build would be. Is that correct?
He sold it.
So for 815.
Sorry?
It's sold for 815, right?
Okay, but like, did it go through major upgrades throughout the home that would kind of present more like a new home, or would it just, because like what I kind of saw looked kind of like the
son-in-law renovated the house. He did the kitchen, like the son-in-law's in construction. The house showed it was well, very nicely renovated. Plus,
okay.
Okay. If you go to the list and you do an aerial view of that house, it's spectacular.
Okay. But it does not have a walkout basement either, though, correct?
But it has the same lot. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm making them, the discussion is more about the lot done. And I know everyone gets, we're talking about April 1, 2018. And it appears to me that the city, you can time adjust up, but you can't time adjust back. Is that what I'm being told here? Like if a house sells for 37 days after April 1 for $825,000, $860,000, $125,000 less than what you put in there, and you're aware of that. I mean, that's not right. That's not fair. It shouldn't have been used, or you should have the 860 number there because you know it's that close. A month's difference.
It is a post-reference sale, so it isn't really anything that we actually can look at. But I do have some other questions as well, if that's okay. Okay, so you mentioned that 1099 Des Trappes, you felt that actually that was a good comparable, correct?
Better, yeah.
Okay, so in the case of that property, you notice that it doesn't have the walkout basement, nor does it have the green space that you have. So the desirability maybe isn't quite as much as your property. Would you?
I would back up on that because he doesn't need that much more green space. His lot is 7,500 square feet larger. So I would argue he owns his own green space.
It's 3/4 of an acre.
It's 3/4 of an acre. So that's unfair. I'd rather own the park behind me than not, but I don't.
And the last question, you did say that you were the builder for the property as well, and so you don't really have that the construction cost as
I don't even have finished yet, but I don't think, from what I understand, what I put into a place, it's all about what it would sell for. Now, like I say, we built this for our retirement, even on the, we've kept everything on the main floor. We usually have, we've gone so far, and this may sound morbid, but we've gone as far as having a handicap access bathroom on the main floor, all these things. It's not there as a big family house. We built a nice house for our retirement. Our plan to stay there as long as we can, and that's it. But it doesn't. If I put finishes in, or that are more expensive, or but you're not going to get those out, and that happens all the time. We renovate houses for people all the time, where I'll say to them, okay, well, you're going to spend $400,000 here, but when you go to sell the house at the other end, you're not going to get $400,000 more for it. That's how the reality of things work, because they become personalized, and
it is based on market value.
It is based on market value, so that's.
So related to that, maybe you don't get the exact value you put in out, but would you agree that you definitely do get value out of higher end finishings?
You can, and that's I think that's why you've chosen this one at 27 Marvin, because I went through it, and it's got hugely expensive finishes. But if you actually look at that house at 2,000 square feet for $800,000, someone paid too much for it. It's not even in the zone, but it's got high-end finishes. But how it gets to be a comp from St. Vital over to South Drive, I don't know.
Okay, I have no further questions.
But my point is that you don't always get out what you put in. That happens in Winnipeg all the time. People build homes that cost way more than what they'll ever sell them for. And that happens in Fort Garry, it happens in Tuxedo, it happens everywhere. And it is what it is, because people have their own taste. They go in and they renovate them after they buy them. It's
I mean, in the end, the comparables here make more of a case for under $1 million than it does make for a case over $1 million. That's the crazy, like every one of those comparables drives this number where it should be.
like I look at we go back to that Rose Lake, those two in Rose Lake. I mean, it doesn't even get mentioned. It just says retention pond. Like, they should be up front and say, oh, by the way, it also has no houses in front of it, and it's a park. Like, tell the whole story. Like, it's not fair. And it is surrounded by all $1 million houses around it, which does make a difference as well. We aren't that. We've got the ones next door. We're probably immediately next door. Probably sell for $700,000, and the one next to that would be $650 and $650 going down the road. It makes a difference on the value of your home. What's around it? This broken down house beside me. How someone can say that wouldn't impact the value of our house? When people come over, it's the first thing they say. Well, what's happening over there? And you go, I don't know. Anyway, that's.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Thiessen, are we finished with your questions?
Just one little quick thing relating to what you just said there. So you said that the location thing would be definitely a factor. So backing on to Crescent Drive Park, you believe that would be a desirable trait in your property, correct?
I don't disagree with that, other than it's not private. And the comparables you use, when you use the retention ponds, those lots all go to the pond. I have people, I look out my window and I see people walking their dogs 40 feet away, crapping in the back, saying, in the backyard. It's not, we do not have the privacy. It's not the same as a river lot. And it's not the same as a lot on a lake. It is much more desirable. I don't disagree that it is desirable, but not to the same tune as a lake.
Lake or river.
Lake or river, or when you use those real expensive ones that you dug up there, those are lake and park. Lake in the back, park in the front, no houses in front of it. That's very desirable. And the young professionals buying in that area, they want to be where there's all $1 million houses around this park. It's not relative to what we have.
Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
I just have a couple of questions. I'm looking at this building permit, and you indicated, I believe, I just want to make sure I understood this, that for the construction value, that was something that was inserted by the city of Winnipeg?
They usually take a square footage and come up with a number. I don't think I put that number in.
Because it says a declared construction.
If I did, then I don't remember doing that, but I did see that on the permit when it came out. But also the house had to be demolished. There's all sorts of different things there.
And was the demolition included as part of the building permit?
It was. It wouldn't do one without the other. It wouldn't give me a building permit until I had a demolition permit. They also made me raise I've had some struggle building this house. Out of the blue, they decided to force me to raise the house 2.5 feet. The other thing that happened in the city's wisdom, our old house had the garage out the front. The bylaw was that you could be 40 feet from South Drive. That was fine. Our new house was, so the first garage was fine. The new house is going to be 50 feet from South Drive. But in the city had passed I guess they passed a law for infill housing, which requires the houses to be straight, like going down South Drive. If I'd done that, I would have no backyard. I had to get a variance. So there are all kinds of things that it wasn't an easy deal with the city. But the trees and all that, see, that's where it gets off. Like the big trees and all of that, they were all there. I didn't take those out. Right down.
So can you tell me what needs to be completed in your home?
A wine room. Just odds and ends that aren't completed. Okay. But when
so nothing major.
Nothing major. No. But it's still the job is still open because I'm still doing stuff. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you've lived in this house since 1985, you said? And this derelict property beside you, how long has it been derelict?
It's been derelict the whole time.
And have you ever appealed your assessment based upon this derelict property next door?
I have always appealed it generally on the river lot. Like I've never gone to a conference like this. I've just gone to where you meet the assessor. And you go through it and I say, well, here's the river lot, here's the thing. But it's gotten worse. How can I put it? Nothing's been done for 35 years. I don't think the grass has been cut for 35 years. So it has been a progression of and for sure, when we have guests, they do ask, what's the story next door? The guy's a hermit. I don't know. The police go there once every few months. No, we don't know.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Mr. Moratsky?
No questions.
Thank you. Somebody is living in this derelict house?
I'm thinking there has been, in the last couple of weeks, there's been cleaning company there, and there's a big bin outside. So I think I don't know this, I'm assuming that the public trustee or somebody's getting involved to do something. Yeah, no, but then up until very recently, but there is a big dumpster there. It actually got there last night because I was actually going to go take some more pictures of it. And there's a big dumpster there. So.
Okay, thank you.
Presentation, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Thank you, Mr. McCangus.
Okay.
Mr. McCangus for coming today. And again, thank you for your patience.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you for your time again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, we're going to circle back to 115 Brooksmere Trail. And Mr. Basra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's been very patient.
He has. You can't see him. Thank you very much, Mr. Basra. Thank you very much for signing back in, for your patience.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll get started in a minute as soon as we swear you in.
Just to confirm, are you the only person who's going to be speaking today?
Yes.
Okay, so please state your full name.
Hello, Mr. Basra?
Hello, so I can go ahead?
Hi,
Hi,
please state your full name.
Bhavneet Singh Basra.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Braza, we can hear you, but we can't see you, so it's going to be a little bit complicated for us. But we'll start with the assessor's presentation, and after that, you can ask him some questions about that. And then we'll move to your presentation, okay? Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Mr. Assessor, when you're ready, please go ahead.
Hey, thank you. 150 Brooksmere Trail, roll number 141-001-28615, located in Inkster Garden neighborhood. It's a two-story built in 2020, living area 3205 square feet. Basement type is a walkout basement, and it is a finished basement. 2 full bathrooms in the house, 3 half bathrooms, 3 showers, does have central air, does not have any fireplaces, and it has an attached multi-car garage. Lot size is 7732 square feet, and it is a retention pond adjacent, and it also has a hydro box in the yard. The comps that I have are in Inkster Garden neighborhood or Rosser Old Kildonan nearby. The year built is between 2014 and 2017. They're all 2-story builds. Living area of 2577 square feet to 2683 square feet. 2 of the comps, comp 2 and 3, have full basements rather than walkout basements, and comps 1 and 3 do not have finished basements. Bathroom counts are slightly different between the properties, and comps 1, 2, and 4 all have fireplaces. The comps 2 and 3 do not have any land influences, and the square footage of the lot size varies from 5694 square feet to 6394 square feet. Heronswood Path properties, comp 1 and 4, have a retention pond influence rather than being a retention pond adjacent, so they have a walkway between the pond and their house. The time adjusted sale prices I have for these properties range between $529,400 to $715,300, with a time adjusted sale price per square foot of $201.60 to $266.60. Based on that, I do feel that the current assessed value at $833,000 is supported. I cannot find any sales that would support a higher valuation, which I believe the owner is seeking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Basra, do you have any questions? Sorry, Mr. Basra, any questions?
Yeah. So the full baths in the property are 4 in total, and half bath is 1. And there are 4 showers in the property. And there is a sunroom in the property that is on the 2nd floor. It has been listed as loft on the map. So that are a few things. And then the other thing that I want to, can I mention all the things that I want to raise as a concern now? Or
Can I just ask you some questions about what you just mentioned?
Well, first, no, he's actually asking you questions. Mr. Basra, do you have questions of what the assessor said?
Well, yes, the number of baths are different, and there is a sunroom, and the number of showers are different. And I don't know why the property is being compared to no other property that is on Brooksmere Trail itself, because the rear property line of all the properties that are on the east side of Brooksmere Trail are right up to the lake, but the ones that are east of the lake are not up to the lake. The size of the lot is different. All others do not have same lot size. That is of 115 Brooksmere Trail. And there is also a water hydrant that was not considered. So these are the questions that I have.
Mr. Thiessen?
Yes, so my question about the sunroom, is it a 4-season sunroom?
Yes.
Okay, so that's just, would be qualified into general living area rather than being qualified as a sunroom. As for the bathroom,
So is it not up? Okay, the bathrooms are 4?
Yeah, so the bathroom count we have reflects the fact that half bathrooms with showers, which you're seeming to be mentioning for the full bathroom counts, be considered half bathrooms with showers.
So there is no, so what do we count as full bathroom then?
A toilet, a sink, and a bathtub.
Toilet, sink, and a bathtub. So if it does not have a bathtub, then it's not a full bath.
Correct. It would be a half bath.
If it has a standing shower, like tiled shower, it is not considered as full bath.
Correct. That would be a half bathroom with a shower.
How many full baths you said?
2 full bathrooms, 3 half bathrooms, 3 showers.
And then any shower that is on the bathtub, is that considered as shower?
No, if it's in the same bathtub and has a shower fixture as well, then no.
Okay, that answers that question. And then what about the other question?
Which question was that?
Like the properties that were compared to are not of the same size.
Oh, okay. So when I was looking for comparable sales, I couldn't find anything in this market region at all that would support a higher value in the reference period. Outside of the reference period would be possible, but obviously we are not looking at that for this reinvestment cycle. So I had to use what I had in the neighborhood, which does appear to support the current valuation when I determined the value here.
So why this house was not compared to a property that is matching to this property? That to me it looks like city is trying to compare apples to oranges, but is not comparing apples to apples. And like if you see the market value assessment report that was done, the property was compared to the matching properties, and yes, I have mentioned it before too that the properties in South are matching to this property, and they were compared to this property to get the market value assessment. So why city can't do it? Like or why this was not done in this report? Like, is it because like there is a prejudice or a bias that houses in South are more expensive, and then the houses in North cannot be expensive? Doesn't matter how much investment is done.
Looking at it in the reference period, it was not possible to find comparable sales that actually support a higher valuation in this neighborhood. There is a bit of a premium for being in Bridgewater versus being in the Inkster Garden area. That maybe there is a change in the next reassessment cycle where there are more comparable sales to support a higher valuation in the Inkster Garden area. But as of now, in the April 1st, 2018 reference date, I can't find any sales that actually support that higher valuation.
Even in the South, you can't find it. That's my question. Like, why? If somebody has invested money in this area and then they want to have the area developed, and then they want to have decent houses or expensive houses in the area, why these houses are not getting compared to the like apples to apples? Why we have been compensating properties to compare to something that is close by? But yes, and we do agree that they are not comparable sales, but we are still doing it. Why is it being done?
So they wouldn't really be true comparables if they're not really in the same market. Most people, if they're looking for a home in Bridgewater, they're going to be looking for a home in Bridgewater, and they may not make the substitution for a Inkster Garden. So,
well, my question is, like, this house has been compared to, in the market value assessment report, this house has been compared to the matching houses, and yes, they were in the south area of the city, but the houses that were compared to in the assessment were not comparable to the property. And now, if we're gonna keep doing it, then no property in this area will get an opportunity to be assessed at the right value that the property should be assessed. And this is a concern. So it's like you just mentioned, people like to buy houses in Bridgewater, but people buy houses at their choice. They're buying. There could be another story that is being neglected, and I know it is. Like, we cannot say it no, that people want to buy a house in this locality, but because the prices are not matching or the assessment is not enough, so they say, okay, if I want to get investment value out of my property, I better go to South. So we are creating a loophole, or I don't want to say it a loophole, but we are creating a glitch here. No?
So in the next reassessment cycle, it's likely that there will be sales in that neighborhood to draw upon to actually reflect possibly a higher value. But right now, in that neighborhood.
So when is the next cycle going to happen? After 2 years, 3 years? So just because of this little problem that we have, the assessment values should stay as is for 2 years or 3 years. Is that justified?
Yes, and the next reassessment cycle is 2023.
Yeah, so it's 2020 now. For 3 years, we just have to tell that, oh, you know what? Yes, the property was very nice. We invested money in it. This locality is nice, but you know what, guys? You better go to South, because city is considering this. After 3 years from now, they're gonna see, okay, this is the assessment value of this area. We took 3 years to realize it, but okay, now we give it go ahead. That is not justified. That is, to me, it's like a bias that is sitting in the mind.
Mr. Basra, the assessor has answered your questions to the best of his ability, and he is limited by the assessment legislation, which is the Municipal Assessment Act. So some of the questions I'm asking, he actually has no answer for, given the legislative framework he's operating within. So if you're okay, we'll move to questions from the panel, and then we'll go to your presentation, and you can explain to us what your house should be assessed.
Can I have one more?
If you could, okay, if you could make it a short question, we'll have time for that, but then we need to move on. Pardon? Oh, okay,
I have no questions. Thank you.
okay,
No question.
okay. So, Mr. Basra, if you're ready now with your presentation, perhaps you can tell us why you're seeking an increase in the assessed value of your home and what you think the value should be. Is he there? Okay. Is he still there? Yes, I'm like, there's a delay. Okay. Okay. This is kind of. I'm sorry, this is why we don't like mount cameras, but. Okay. Can he hear us? He can hear us. Okay, Mr. Basra, we're having just some technical considerations. We're waiting for you to be unmuted, and then you can go on to your presentation. he still there?
Yes.
I think we need to do something to connect him in quickly.
Yes, he does. He's been trying to. Can you hear that? Mr. Thiessen? Can you hear the phone right now?
Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry, I cannot take your call.
He didn't answer. Email him that we're gonna try to call him and remove him from the meeting.
Is there a hearing here this afternoon?
There is not, it's just us. Did you want to take a recess after this item?
I'm feeling so terrible about the people that have been waiting and waiting. Like we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more people.
Try again?
I sent him the email saying we're trying to help.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Oh, you'll need to, that might be why he's not answering. Hello?
Hello, yeah, sorry, I didn't realize it's you guys calling, I didn't pick up the call.
Okay, can you hear him?
Yes, I can
sorry,
hear you.
Sorry, just 1 second. Mr. Thiessen, are you able to hear him?
I can hear him, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Basra, we have you just on a cell phone here, and so we're gonna, it's a quick fix to make sure you can present your presentation now, okay?
Sorry, say again, please?
Yeah, go ahead and make your presentation, please.
Oh, okay, so this house has 4 bathrooms, 3 showers, all custom tiled. And then there is 1 half bath on the main floor. All the stone on exterior and interior is natural stone. The house has full home control automation from Control 4. The windows in the house are 10 feet by 7 feet. And the landscaping is all done. And the rear property line touches the lake, so it is a private property right to the lake. And then there is a water hydrant adjacent by. All the flooring is hardwood. It has 2 furnaces, 2 humidifiers, and everything is controlled by Control 4, obviously. The lighting is very expensive. All the fixtures are aqua brass and Rio Bell, so all expensive. All the water closets are wall hung with the bidet seats. So there are 5 water closets with 5 bidet seats. The doors, the front door, all the exterior doors are verdict doors, so very expensive, very high end. All the ceilings are 9 feet. There is the appliances. There is a bar in the basement that has a microwave oven and a fully high end bar with a countertop and sink and dishwasher. It has a butler's kitchen on the main floor, and then obviously a big kitchen with acrylic finish and automated doors on the kitchen. And then all the landscaping is done on the front and back. The curb appeal is very high end. On the front, it has a whole bunch of big boulders that are, or boulders, I don't know, like those are big stones. Maybe I'm not getting into proper vocabulary, but on the property, fencing is done on the property. The deck is with the waterproofing done and complete on the property. All the doors inside the property are 8 feet high, 3 feet wide. And then the garage is fully finished and heated with epoxy flooring. The driveway, the outside patios, they are all concrete, stamped, and colored. So that's all that I can quickly think about. And I think this property, it has 3 screens with control for automation. Each floor has a control for automation screen. It has a door station, temperature sensors, blinds are automated, 5 in-floor heat zones there with automation integrated. It has a central vacuum on each floor. It has a broom system in each island, which is on the main floor and in the bar. So all together, what I think the property value should be, or what I think it should be in 2018 compared on the sold price. The property was sold for 1150,000, so $1,150,000, GST included. In my view, if we compare this to 2018, in my opinion, I think it should be $1,050,000, so 1,050,000 as an assessment value.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Basra. Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions of Mr. Basra's presentation?
I have no.
Pardon me?
I have no questions.
No questions? Okay. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Moretsky?
No questions.
Okay. It's kind of unique for us to be entertaining a request for an increase in value. So thank you for your presentation. I very much appreciate it. And again, thank you for your patience. And you'll receive our decisions shortly by registered mail.
So, so is it all, sorry to interrupt, but so you guys don't need me anymore? You'll just tell me the reason through mail?
Yeah, we have your presentation that was sent in. We have that. And we'll be considering your evidence and the assessor's evidence in making our decision shortly. Okay?
So what are the, okay, so what are the next steps from here now? Sorry, your voice is echoing in the phone, so hard to.
Okay, no, that's fine, sorry. The next steps will be, we will consider the evidence made or presented to us today, and we will prepare our written order and send it to you by registered mail. Okay? Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye. Okay, let's, we're gonna just try to get the rest of them done before taking a break. They've been waiting for a long time. So we're gonna move on to number 738 Buckingham. Do we have an applicant here? Pardon me?
Hopefully they're still here.
They weren't earlier.
It'll warn me.
you do need to update your parking, just do it. Like just. It's new now.
So we're gonna push on to the end here.
If we can,
Hopefully.
yeah. I'd like to. They've been waiting a long
I
time.
know.
And it's already
And it is
noon.
noon.
We'll be here till 1:30, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I think so.
If they're further on the docket, they can't say come in like 10 or something.
Pardon me?
Because you never know.
Because you
how
never
fast
know.
it's gonna
That's true.
move.
You don't know until we start who's even here.
The other day I came in, it was supposed to be a complicated hearing. The person never showed up. So I came all the way down here for nothing. But you just never know.
You don't. So,
Okay, what are we doing out there?
probably trying to calm down some.
We're still alive. Well, you can't blame people, especially if they're working and stuff like that, you know?
Pardon me? Not here? Okay, so we will put 738 Buckingham to the end just in case they show up later. 30 Lace Wing Lane. Andreas Tusi, I believe, by Zoom. Okay.
Yes.
Afternoon, Miss Hort. Is it afternoon? Good afternoon, Mr. Tusi. Thank you for your patience. We'll
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
problem.
I'll start with the assessor's presentation and then you can ask questions and then we'll move on to your presentation. But first, we have to swear you in, okay?
Yes, that's good.
Please state your full name.
So my full name is Dr. Andrea Schalchi-Tusi.
And do you affirm that the evidence that you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thiessen, if you could take us through 30 Lace Wing Lane, please.
Thank you. 30 Lacewing Lane, roll number 060934600650, located in Sage Creek. It's a one-story built in 2014, living area of 1232 square feet. Has a full basement that is finished. It has one full bath, one half bath, one shower, has central air, no fireplaces, has an attached multi-car garage, and it has a deck. It is on an external corner, and the lot size is 5880 square feet. The comparables are all also in Sage Creek, one-story builds built between 2010 and 2012. Square foot is between 1333 square feet to 1411 square feet. All do still have finished basements as well. The only difference between these properties is Comp 1 does not have central air and it does have a fireplace. Land influences, none of them have that external corner influence that Lacewing does. And the lot sizes range between 4654 square feet to 5620 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices are a range of $408,400 to $447,000, and the time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges between $289.65 to $316.80 per square foot, and the 2021 assessment roll value at $396,000 is supported from these sales. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thiessen. Mr. Tusi, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yeah, just a short, it's a comment and a question. So my comment is, it was said that the property has a full finished basement. That is not correct. I will make more comments during my presentation, but where is this information coming from said the property has a full finished basement.
So it's not a full finished basement. It's a full basement, meaning that the basement covers the entire area of the structure above it. The finished area of the basement is only 418 square feet.
Okay. No more questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions of the assessor?
I do not.
Mr. Moratsky?
I have no question.
No question? Okay, and I have no questions. So, Mr. Tusi, on with your presentation, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I use screen sharing? Is this fine? I submitted 2 pages of documents. Is it possible to share it?
We have your document.
Yeah, I can share it. I mean, that's fine. I just want to ask for your permission to share it.
I'm not sure what you're
On the
asking.
screen, I think he wants to
Oh, on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do this, I think. I just want to ask for your permission.
It can be done, sure.
Yeah, so...
We can continue to hear you.
Yeah, so can you see my document and can you hear me?
Yes, and we also have this in front of us on our computers here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as the assessor pointed out, there was an original assessment of my property and it was said the value is $369,000. And I'm perfectly fine with this value. I do not appeal this value. I then received a letter and saying that it was called a change of assessment. And it was said that there's an increase of my property because the basement was finished. And that change to the assessment was $27,000, which brought the revised assessment to $396,000. So what I appeal is this increase of $27,000. And the reason for that is that what you can see here, that's a plan of the basement. And that plan is just, it was attached to the document as I bought the house. So the basement was, as I bought the house, completely unfinished. So it was completely empty. What I finished is the pink area here. That is everything what is finished. Everything else here, you can see it as a bathroom or whatever. That's not how it is. That's completely unfinished. So it's completely empty. So everything what was done was basically this room here. It's a rec room. And that was finished, I think it was January this year. And that, according to my calculations, you can see here the width and the length of the room. That corresponds to an increase of roughly 375 square feet. Maybe it was a tiny little bit more, I rounded up or down or so, but roughly like that. And I used an online calculator to estimate the increase of the value of my property because of this renovation project. And it was, I hope you can see it, it was stated something between $2,250 and $7,875,000, but not $27,000. So I would like to change these $27,000 to an amount somewhere between these 2 limits here. That's the reason for my appeal.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions?
I do. You did purchase your home in December of 2017, correct?
Yes.
And you paid $382,500?
That's correct.
And the only thing that you've done since your purchase is finishing the basement, right?
Well, it's one room. One room was finished.
Yeah, just the one finished area.
I want to be precise, yes.
Yeah. It's just that one finished rec area.
Exactly.
Right when you walk down the stairs, there's a small space, then the door, and then the rec room there.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's all you've done since your purchase, though.
That's everything what I have done, yeah.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen.
Thank you.
Ms. Whipple, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Moratsky?
No questions.
Okay, so just so that it's straight in my mind, the house when it was purchased in December had no finish done at all in the basement. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
And then subsequent to that, you finished 375 square feet.
Exactly.
Into the rec room, right?
Exactly, yes.
And the rest the rest of the basement remains unfinished.
That's exactly how it is, yes.
All right, then, just so that it's square in my mind. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. And that was my only question. So I appreciate your patience and you'll be hearing from us shortly.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we're saying. Welcome, come on in. We're now going to hear 115 Silver Sage Crescent. Before we start, we'll swear you in.
Please state your full name or squats, and you affirm that the evidence you are about to provide to this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Thank you.
And welcome, Mr. Gwads, and thank you very much for your patience as we've been dealing with some of our technical issues today, but hopefully we've got those sorted out.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're going to start with the assessor's presentation, and you can ask questions of his presentation, and then we'll move on to your presentation. Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready.
Okay, 115 Silver Sage Crescent, roll number 0609-337-8700, located in Sage Creek. It's a one-story build, built in 2017, living area of 1492 square feet. It has a full finished basement. It has one full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms, 2 showers. Does have central air, does not have a fireplace, and it has an attached multi-car garage. Assessed lot size is 5519 square feet. And the comparables are all located in Sage Creek as well. They're all one-story builds, built between 2011 and 2015. Build size is 1398 square feet to 1498 square feet. Comps 1 and 2 do not have finished basements, whereas comps 3 and 4 do. There's slight variability to the bathroom counts, and comps 1 and 3 have fireplaces that the subject lacks. The lot sizes for the comparables are between 4830 square feet to 6139 square feet. And comp 3 has a light traffic influence, school influence, and an external corner influence. The time adjusted sale prices for the comparables ranges between $419,000 to $458,600. And the time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges between $284.07 to $326.04. The subject assessment for 2020 assessment year is $463,000 or $310.32 per square foot. Since the there was a change to the record that was finishing the basement that resulted in a supplementary notice, which is the result of this appeal. And I believe that the value is supported at $463,000. Thank you.
Mr. Watts, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions.
Mr. Moretsky?
No questions.
Okay, I do have a question, and I'm sorry, you mentioned that there was a change in the records, and I was taking notes on something else, which resulted in the 2020 SUP. Could you explain that again?
Yes, the basement was finished.
The basement was finished. And when was the basement finished?
It was done in September of 2019, and we added it for the for October of 2019.
I'll try to keep it as short and concise as possible because
Take your time.
I know how long you guys have been sitting here, and I appreciate you taking the time to meet with the board and the assessor. So thank you very much on that.
The 3 points I really want to raise too is the sales price of my house. I live in Sage Creek. We built it in 2017. There's the neighborhood, if you're not familiar with it, it's like any other new development. There's range goes from apartments to $1 million lottery type houses. So I do believe thoroughly that the price you pay for a house generally does reflect somewhat of the value. There are houses that are extremely valuable that are the same size as my house, and there's houses that are less valuable, such as mine, I believe, that we paid less for. So the sales information, the first point I want to raise here is the sales information point that they have here for the prices that were appear here in 2017 for the comps that the assessor looked at were all significantly higher than the price actually paid to build the house, which was listed at $399, and we actually paid less than that with rebates and other things that we took off. That's my first point. The second point is that the best comparable, which I don't actually see here, obviously because it didn't sell, is my neighbor, who's behind me at 21 Silver Sage Crescent. And we're both the same size house, single story bungalow, built around the same time, within 50 square feet of each other. And their current assessment on the City of Taxation Department's website is $403, so $60,000 less than mine. I've always felt, and that our houses are pretty comparable. They built at the same time, within the same range. In fact, I probably paid less than he did. Are the same, more or less, until the point, obviously, when I finished my basement, right, which would increase the value of my house, which I fully accept. The other comparable I want to just note quickly is a 33 Silver Sage, which is a 2,200 square foot house just down the street within the same crescent as my own, and it's currently assessed at $460,000 on the assessment roll. Obviously, I think a 2,200 square foot house would sell for, I'm not a real estate agent, but it would sell for $100,000 to $150,000 more than a 1,500 square foot house in my area. With that said, I fully accept that the house and the assessment value should go up. I appeal to the fairness of the board that the assessment did go up by about $60,000, I think, to the nearest comparative to my neighbor behind me is a little excessive. And I respectfully submit that the assessment of my 2020 assessment roll is reduced between 4 to 6%. So anywhere from 20,000 to 30,000 off the property roll.
Thank you, Mr. Guadz.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, did you have any sales to support the lower valuation?
I didn't go into that much detail. I'm going off the base of what I paid for my house and what of course, my neighbors paid for their house. Obviously, the neighborhood, like I said before, there's diverse houses. So there's houses with marble countertops, hardwood floors, everything else is going to increase the value. I'm not sure what your comparables have, but there are definitely some nice houses in that neighborhood, and I submit that mine is not one of them.
I'm sorry if I missed it. When did you purchase your home?
It was built in 2017.
Okay, and what did you pay for the home?
Altogether, it was below 400,000, so about 396.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Reppel, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Moreski?
No questions.
And what was the cost of your rec room finish?
Oh, it was just over $20,000. So with taxes, it was about 22.
About 22,000. And the assessor said it was completed in September 2019.
Yeah, it was. We worked on it until about December, so it's fair enough. I won't argue with that. It's within. Majority of it was completed by September.
All right, that's the only question I had.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you again for your patience and waiting.
Thank you.
We have three more presenters here, two of which are actually physically present. So we've had a request to move them forward in the order. The last one is via Zoom, so we'll move to 35 Campo Street.
Madam Chair, might I take 2 minutes?
Sure, take 2 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Break, yeah, just a 2-minute recess. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for your patience as we've had some delays this morning, but you're here now finally.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, we'll get you sworn in, okay?
Okay.
Sure.
Hi, please stand. Do one at a time here. So please state your full name.
Darlene Teresa Ganas.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I understand here we have applications to hear appeals for the 2019 and the 2020 assessment rolls.
Correct.
So we'll do them both at the same time since the information relates to both of them equally, and that will speed it up a little bit, and we'll just assume that everything talked about for the 2019 also applies to 20 unless there's something that's unique to that, okay?
No.
Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Thiessen and his presentation. Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready.
Thank you. 35 Campost Street, roll number 0303033810, located in St. Norbert. It is a one-story build, built in 1965, living area of 2063 square feet. It has a walkout basement. It has a finished basement as well. Two full bathrooms, one shower. Does have central air. Has 2 fireplaces. Has a attached garage that is built into the basement, and the lot size is 13,997 square feet, and it has a LaSalle River land influence. The comparables for 2019 are all in St. Norbert. They're all one-story builds. They are built between 1954 to 1961. Living areas between 1102 square feet to 2012 square feet. None of these properties have a walkout basement as the subject does. They are all just regular full basements. They all do have finished basements though. They vary slightly in the bathroom counts. Comp 3 does not have central air, and the fireplace counts is lower in all of the comps, with Comp 1 having a single fireplace and the rest of them having none. The garages are also slightly different. Comp 1 has a single car attached garage, and Comps 2, 3, and 4 have detached garages, Comp 2 being a multi-car and Comp 3 and 4 being single. The range of the square foot for the lots is 9,947 square feet to 15,799 square feet. And Comp 1 has the similar LaSalle River influence. Otherwise, Comp 2 has no influences, and Comps 3 and 4 they're on a bus route with medium traffic. The sale prices time adjusted is range between 333,300 to 389,300 per square foot. That is 193.49 per square foot to 302.45 per square foot. And the 2019 assessment roll is valued at 509,000 or 246.73 per square foot. That value is supported by the comps. For the 2020 assessment, the comps are all again in the St. Norbert neighborhood, all one-story builds, built between 1954 to 1965. Square footage range between 1232 square foot to 2096 square foot. Again, they do not have walkout basements as the subject does. They all do have finished basements though. Bathroom counts again are slightly different. All of the comps have only one fireplace versus the 2 of the subject. And then for the garages, 3 of them have attached single car garages, comps 2, 3, and 4, and comp 1 does not have a garage at all. And also comp 4 has an in-ground pool. The range of lot size goes from 8,390 square feet to 15,799 square feet. Comp 3 has that similar LaSalle River influence. Comp 1 has a cemetery influence, and Comp 4 has a Red River adjacent influence. The time-adjusted sale prices per square foot ranges from $394,400 to $418,900. And the time-adjusted per square foot ranges from $188.17 per square foot to $337.91 per square foot. The 2020 value is again at $509,246.73 per square foot and is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for the assessor?
Yes, I do. For the bathroom count for 35 Campo, is that are those washrooms on the main floor?
I do not know. I don't know where they are.
To cut to the chase, the original floor plan of the house included 2 main floor bathrooms and 1 in the basement. We currently do not have that situation. There's only 1 bathroom upstairs and 1 bathroom downstairs.
So we're just making sure that, you know, they did take out a bathroom and make 1 big bathroom. And that was one of the reasons they had a harder time selling, because it's a lot of room for just the 1 bath, and the ensuite is attached to it. So it
compromises the marketability of the house.
Okay, well, we do only have 2 full bathrooms on the record.
Any further questions?
No.
Okay. No. No. Okay. Ms. Rumpel, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Moretsky?
No questions.
I have a question. We're using the same reference period, right, for both of these assessments, right?
No,
different?
They're different. 2019 would be the market value at April 1st of 2016, whereas 2020 is a market value at April 1st of 2018.
Okay, so we're not seeing any increase from 2016 market value to 2018 market value?
In this case, that's correct.
Okay, on with your presentation.
Okay. In your dockets, we have 4 properties that we would like to use as comparables, which we believe is more germane to the discussion than the 4 that the assessor has used for each of the 2 years in question. All properties are located on Day Trap East. So thereby the influence would be the same as our situation. All are backing or have LaSalle River behind the properties. So there's 2 properties that we like to take note of: 1074 Day Trap East and 1112 Day Trap East. Especially 1112, the square footage and the amenities of the house are very comparable to our property.
And it's sold for like $427. So I think why our situation's a bit different is because we bought it in November 2018 and we paid $520. So then this year in July 2020, I got a letter from the taxation saying that our house was going up to like $509 and that we had to pay back to, so now when we bought it in 2018, the tax assessment was $444 on our house. So they were saying that they now want to go back to that time and raise it up to $509 based on what we paid. Because I said, I talked to so many people because they kept telling me, it must be a mistake. You must have done a major renovation or something because it went up by 65 and they want to go back in time. And I said, no, they did renovations 10 years ago. And so it was based on the price we paid. Now, I understand that to a point, but the price we paid was based on the seller misled us when we bought the house. And they left out papers saying the house was protected and that there was a dike and there was a province of Manitoba.
There's a memo on the.
And the realtor that was with us was like, oh, see, like you don't, because I was asking about sandbagging and worrying about that. And we were told, and it said on there, that the property was protected. And so we believed it. And unfortunately, we didn't look into it more. And so we paid the price we did based on, yes, the house is very nice. It has a walkout basement. However, we can't really use it because we haven't even been there quite 2 years, and we've sandbagged twice, and we almost sandbagged in last fall.
This time, last
So
year.
we can't really use the basement. I mean, it's lovely, and we've been working with the city trying to get them to do a dike for us, because if we had a dike, I do believe that we could sell our house for $509. But without that dike, it's going to be very difficult because there's other issues. Like I said, the one bathroom, we didn't have kids, it didn't matter. You know, there's some sloping. We knew about that. We accepted that. They did lie. The renovations they did 10 years ago, we found out from a neighbor, was because we were looking at the side of the house and we were having some issues with frost in the front room. And the neighbor's like, oh, is that where the fire was? And we're like, a fire? And so there was a major fire that started in our neighbors that spread to our house. Never told us about that either. And we did a disclosure statement with them. So I'm just saying, it's partly based on what we paid, but we unfortunately overpaid for the house. And so we're trying to show comparables. And so I do think the original assessment of 444, and probably we probably would have paid like 475 or something like that, because it is nice, except for, you do have to deal with the flooding, which we now know about.
Right, and now in consultation with the City of Winnipeg Engineering Department, we've learned that to do a proper flood protection would require a flood wall at a cost between $200,000 to $300,000. So we're working with them to try to develop a different design, maybe a little more cost effective and a little more appealing. So we're working with that group.
So the engineers, we should have an estimate on that and see what the city is willing to help us with that. But without that dike, I don't know how we could sell it for $509.
In its current state.
Because without lying to people, I don't know how we could do that. I just don't think it's really worth that much. It's a very nice property, and it would be a lot better. The walkout basement would be usable, and it would make it worth a lot more, I think. That was what I was working with the city, or when I was talking to the property, I believe it was Doug Strachan. He's told me to appeal because I was explaining how, yes, because he goes, well, you paid close to $509, and I said, yeah, but it was like a mistake. So then we got into it all, and he said that we should appeal because, we would not have paid that price is the point. And so we just don't believe it's worth that much.
Right, yeah.
And I think
based on the price and based on the photos presented by the assessor, the reality is not what you see in the pictures. The property looks great, but that's what we're confronting every flood season.
Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so when you were purchasing, was it evident at all that it was not protected land, or Like, was
So
this?
there was a memo on the kitchen table from the province of Manitoba that the sellers had left out for potential buyers to see. And it said the property is considered protected because of a dike that was constructed. So we later learned that there is a dike in the area, but it protects the school. And we learned that in '97, what they did is they expanded on that dike, and then they, with heavy machinery, they took up the entire street, put loads of dirt and clay on Campo. So all the river properties would be sacrificed, and then all to the west, and all the properties on the east side of Campo would be protected. So
We did, like, we knew 97 was an issue, obviously, but after that, we were told that because of this dike, and when you look at the backyard, you see how it slopes, like, and then there's stairs going down. We honestly believed that was the dike. Like, we were standing there looking at it and talking with the realtor that we had and said, like, oh, I guess that's why it's like sloped like that. So, okay, woohoo, great, we don't have to worry.
And even our neighbors said that, don't worry about it. In what he's been reading, the province has made improvements to the gate and to the expansion of the floodways. So you should be fine. Well, we later learned that that's not the case.
Well, actually, in so we bought in November 2018. In March 2019, we got a letter saying that we were at risk and would have to sandbag. And I was like, sandbag? Like, why? And then I found out, and we were actually one of 2 properties in the city that sandbagged. One of 2. So I'm just saying, like, yes, we should have done more homework. I shouldn't have trusted people like I did. Even the realtors, I'm not sure they did their job 100%, but that doesn't, we made a mistake. We made a big mistake, and I love the house. It's just, it's not worth that much unless we can get some protection and a dike from the city. Sorry, I'm just a little emotional.
Okay, just one other question. Have you done anything at all to the property since you purchased the home?
We've had to replace the air conditioner.
Yeah, we replaced the air conditioner.
And that brings up another topic. We learned that there was some plumbing issues in the basement where the previous homeowner, or we're not sure which previous homeowner did it, they had concreted over a access for plumbing.
Like the backwater valve broke and it was cemented over, so we had to get the floor chipped up, repair the pipe, and then reestablish the concrete floor again. But that's we didn't do any updating, no.
And at this point, we're reluctant to do any work in the basement because unless we're flood protected, there's no point in putting money into the basement.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
I'm just wondering how much the plumbing repairs cost you.
Well, we did, it cost like $2,000 to do the backwater valve, but we haven't done they had to rip up flooring. We had to cut into the wall to get that done. So we haven't, that's probably, we're estimating it, we would guess about $5,000 to fix the floor and do the wall and because we have to put a little access hatch in the new flooring we put over top. So far we spent $2,000, but we don't want to do the other flooring and stuff because we don't want to flood. I mean, we have to replace it again. So until we get a dike, we're just not doing it at this point.
That's all my questions.
Mr. Mareski.
I have no questions.
Thank you, and I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you
for coming in, and thank you again for your patience.
Thank you for your time.
We will go to 128 Yale Avenue. assessments. 2 assessments.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Karen Pankratz.
That's right.
I thank you for coming and thank you for your patience.
You're welcome. Thank you for staying with it.
Is that for the map?
Yes, I just want to say a big thank you to the person who works on the main floor, because I didn't realize I was supposed to bring copies for everybody and I hadn't sent them in advance, and she photocopied for me. So thank you very much.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, I
That's
just
very
want to shout out to her.
And you need to send one to the assessor? Okay. We'll just make sure the assessor has a copy
Sure.
and then we'll get started, okay?
Yeah. It's not really in a format. Oh, I don't know if I
That's
scored
okay.
it. Yeah, I didn't, these are just, anyway, sort of my speaking notes, but that's fine. Okay.
Do you need them?
I have copy. Yeah, thanks.
We'll just wait a couple minutes until the
Okay.
assessor is ready with his copy and then we'll swear you in and then we'll get going.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, it's getting colder and colder in this room the longer I sit.
That was me.
No, we just have.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Okay.
All right, so can I just get you to stand? Please state your full name.
Karen Grace Pankratz.
And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Thiessen, we're dealing with 128 Yale. Assessments 2019 and 2020 is under appeal. So I'm assuming that the characteristics of the house will be the same. You just need to go through that once, but then take it away.
Okay. Thank you very much. 128 Yale Avenue, roll number 12040120000. It's located in Crescentwood. It's a 2-story build, and it has a secondary suite in the basement. Year built was 2019. Living area of 2696 square feet. Has a full basement and a finished basement, which is where the secondary suite is. Has 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 1 shower. Has central air, no fireplaces. Has an attached multi-car garage, and the lot size is 9302 square feet. The comparables for the 2019 year, one is located in North River Heights, 2 are in Wellington Crescent, and 1 in Sir John Franklin. They are all 2-story dwellings, single-family dwellings, so they do not have the secondary suite that the subject has. They were built between 1953 and 2011. Square footage between 1930 square feet to 2996 square feet. One of the properties does not have a finished basement. That would be comp 2. The bathroom counts are slightly different depending on the property, and the comps all have fireplaces except for comp 4. Comp 2 also has an extra fireplace, so they have 2 rather than just 1. Garages are slightly different. There are detached garages at 403 Oxford and 1340 Wellington, and a detached single-car garage at Rent Group. Comp 4 also has the sunroom. The lot size is between 4239 square feet to 9111 square feet. And there are land influences on Comp 1 and Comp 3. Comp 1 has a bus route, an external corner, and light traffic influence, whereas Comp 3 has an external corner, light traffic, park, and rail line influence. The time-adjusted sale price is $708,300 to $1,073,300, and the time-adjusted sale price per square foot is $284.23 per square foot to $383.52 per square foot. I believe that the assessed value at $944 for 2019 is fair at $944,000 for the April 1st, 2016 reference date. For the 2020, the comps are Comp 1 is in Crescentwood, Comp 2 is in Wellington, and Comp 3 is in North River Heights. Again, they're all 2-story dwellings. Again, they all have just the single family dwelling versus the secondary suite that is present on the subject. The year built is between 1929 to 2010. The living area is between 2467 square feet to 2716 square feet. Bathroom counts again vary slightly. Comp 1 has 2 fireplaces. Comp 2 and 3 have 1 fireplace versus the subject's 0. Comp 2 has a built-in garage rather than just being an attached multi-car garage, and Comp 3 has a detached multi-car garage. The lot size ranges from 4,810 square feet to 11,328 square feet, and Comp 2 has a light traffic influence, and Comp 3 has a bus route, external corner, and light traffic influence. The time-adjusted sale prices range from $916,800 to $1,334,600, with time-adjusted sale price per square foot from $371.63 per square foot to $540.32 per square foot. The 2020 assessment roll is at $1,032,000, and that is a price of $382.79 per square foot, which is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Questions of Lisa?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Thiessen. My question is why you didn't look at comparables that were within my specific, I mean, you do list one on the 2020 assessment, but the 2019 assessment doesn't list any comparable sales within my specific area, Crescentwood.
So the reasoning for that is in the neighborhood, it's hard to find builds that are infill homes in this reference period or in these 2 reference periods. And beyond just the infill homes, to find older homes that have been significantly upgraded to be more like a new home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I had to expand the area to neighboring areas to find sales that were in better support of the actual condition of your home.
But you are including some older homes that have been renovated. You are not only comparing me to our home to new infill.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all.
Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions? Mr. Moretsky?
So where the subject property is compared to the comparables, would you say those are comparable areas in terms of there's one more, not one more desirable than the other, or what do your opinion on that?
They're fairly similar areas. There's definitely like going to be slight differences between them, but it's again hard to find comparables that are very similar to this property specifically, where it actually has a infill build or the major upgrades in this area. And then even harder to find ones that have a secondary suite, which is why there are none that actually have that secondary suite on it as well.
No further questions?
Okay, and my question also related to the secondary suites. It was noticeable that none of your comparables at all have a secondary suite. Are secondary suites becoming more common?
I can't really say for sure they are. I've seen more in the last few years than I have in the years preceding that, but I don't know if that necessarily means that they are becoming more common or if it's just something that I personally have seen.
And does the presence of a secondary suite add value to a residence?
Typically, it probably would because you could rent out the suite, or you could have it be a granny suite for family members.
And can you just confirm, is a secondary suite self-contained? It has kitchen and bathroom facilities. Is it separately metered, all that sort of stuff? Or what exactly is a secondary suite?
It may not have separate meters. I'm not 100% sure on that. Generally speaking, though, it would have a separate entrance of some sort. So in this case, that is the case. It does have a walkout portion, or no, is that yeah, it has a walkout portion to the basement that walks out onto a porch. So you can actually access the basement suite from that porch.
Okay, and as you said, a separate kitchen, separate bathroom, everything
Yes.
like. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Pankratz, when you're ready.
Thank you. And I can also answer about our
Sure,
secondary
please
suite
do.
as well.
Yeah, please do.
Just to say, it's really a finished basement that does have its own entrance to the outside, but we finished it with a kitchen with the intent. My mother-in-law lives on Harvard, and we anticipate, since my father-in-law has passed away, that she may want to move in with us as she's beginning to downsize the house. That's why we built it that way. And so it does have, we actually had built it so that she could have her own entrance, and it does have a kitchen area, bathroom, and one bedroom. So it's like it's a finished basement. It is not separately metered. It's part of our utilities, and it has access to the full house. And I'll just say we had never intended it to be like a separate locked off area, but then when we got to the final permit, the city told us we had to do that. And so we ended up putting a locked door between the suite and our home, but it was not, I know intent doesn't really count in this case. We did build it as a secondary suite. We permitted it as a secondary suite, but it is not separately metered, and it's used for our family and when we have guests, things like that. So I'll just start with a bit of the history. My husband and I actually bought the property in 1999, and we've lived there for now 21, going on 22 years. It was a 2,300 square foot, 2.5-story home when we purchased it. We decided to rebuild because we were weighing the option of renovation versus rebuild, and just determined that a rebuild was probably the better option for us. The house before we rebuilt was about 2,300 square feet, and the assessed value was $336,000. So we have increased the size, the footprint slightly, and we have also finished the basement, and obviously it's a newer home. But just to say that that's the history. We are not like a new purchaser. We've lived there for 21 years. We received our new assessment saying that the assessment was effective May 1st, and based on my understanding of the way this is done is it's supposed to be assessed based on what the value would be if you sold it as of that time. We would just argue that on May 1st the house wasn't finished. There is a picture, I think it's the last page of your packet, that shows the house on May 15th. We actually had a little camera set up in front of the house to show the build so that we could track it. It's a little Cabela camera. Anyway, so May 15th, There was no exterior landscaping done. There was no parging done to the bottom of the house. The front entrance was not completed. There was no access to the front. It was basically a mud yard. So we would just argue that on May 1st, it would not have sold for whatever the assessed value is of the house, because it was not finished. So just that's one point. The second factor we wanted to raise was we don't have any other influences related to this house, and we just wanted to mention some of them. Our back lane is a high traffic back lane due to commercial and multi-tenant properties. I included, I don't know what page it is, I'm sorry, but I included the 128 Yale. The last 2 pages or 3 pages are pictures of our back lane. And if you look at the map on the assessment site, I would just note that the property kitty corner to us on the back is a large commercial property, and the 2 properties directly behind us are multi-tenant rentals. And so we have a very high traffic back lane. We're also right next to Stafford and Grosvenor, which has a number of commercial properties. There's the Grove restaurant, Trebisi restaurant, a number of shops there, and we get a lot of traffic and parking on our street. So just to say it is I would say it's a higher traffic area. And the other thing I would note is we do have a group home owned by Saint Amant across the street, and great neighbors, but it does add to the traffic on our street because they have buses and vans that come to pick the residents up to go to work during the day. And so our street does have high traffic. So I wanted to note those things in terms of influence on the value of our lot. And those things would be considered when looking at resale. So I actually looked at houses because we had a number of houses that have been sold on our street or within our area, 601 Crescentwood, as comparables. Our next door neighbor, 136 Yale, sold in 2016 and the price was $865. So looking at for the assessment of 2019 assessment, I think that's an excellent comparator. It's larger than our home. It has a solid brick exterior. It has a fireplace. It has a built out, very large solid stone front porch. The backyard is finished and fully fenced. Our backyard is unfinished. There is no fence. That is noted in the pictures that are attached to the presentation. We are just open to the back lane. I know that the assessor has looked at new homes, and I understand there are pieces you need to consider for a newer home, but our neighbor's home has a lot of high value pieces that our new home doesn't have. We have laminate flooring. We have MDF baseboards. Like, we have not finished this house to the level that the other houses on our street that have original character would have, that would appeal to a buyer and also increase value. And the house next to us has had significant upgrades. I've been in it many times. There are neighbors. They have new kitchens, new bathrooms, new electrical and those kinds of things. And so it is a well-maintained and upgraded home, and I believe it's an excellent comparator to ours. And it has additional amenities that our house doesn't have. Also 141 Yale, which is across the street from us, sold in December of 2016 for $806,000. It's a larger home and it has a much larger lot size, and its back lane is more residential, being across the street from us. Its back lane is just single family homes on Harvard. It also has a finished backyard. I've also looked at 160 Yale, which is on the corner, on the same side of the street as our house, on the corner at Harrow. Much larger home, larger lot, fully fenced, finished backyard. It's also finished. All these homes have finished basements, which would include access for living space down there. And then also 225 Dromore, which is just across Harrow, on the other side of Harrow, and 172 Kingsway. So I picked homes that were all within our range. The average of those homes in terms of square foot was 274. If you took the highest value, which is the house that's right next to us, their value is 274 per square feet. And again, we would argue that our home wasn't fully finished on May 1st, so wouldn't have sold for the full value. Looking at, like, just in terms of 2020, in the presentation, I used the 2018 adjustments for the houses that I presented in the 2019. We looked at the higher adjustments that would have come out, and this was all taken from the Winnipeg sales book reference that's given to people making the claims. So I looked at what the newer square foot assessments would be on the time adjusted prices. Plus I looked at 2019 comparable house sales, and I realized that's a little bit outside the time window, so maybe you cannot look at those. But they also all had similar square foot prices, and I looked at 174 Yale, which is just the next block over past Harrow, which again becomes a bit more residential area, residential back lane. 83 Kingsway, which is on the east side of Stafford, and 1463 Wellington, which I would argue the comparables that the assessor has used, particularly for the 2019 assessment, 2 being on the Wellington Crescent area, either on the Crescent or at the corner of the Crescent, do give considerable increase in value to the property. There is an increase in value on homes that are north of Academy, between Academy and Wellington Crescent, as well as along the Crescent. So, and in the 2020 comparators, I would just add that the comparator number 162 Harvard is close to Peanut Park, and it's an HSC lottery home. And so it has been assessed at that value. I think there's been some influence there. So I don't think the comparators that are used, although they're newer, I don't believe they're realistic comparators of what a home would sell for on my block. And I have tried to show what a home would sell for on my block or within a block of my home, given the conditions and area of where the house is. So I have included pictures of our back lane and the house on May 15th. I mean, we love our house and it's a beautiful house. And so I don't disagree that obviously the assessment has gone up, and we certainly expected that when we bought this, when we built this house. We love this area. We are close to my husband's family, and we wanted to stay in the area, and that's why we rebuilt there. And we tried to keep the house to stay within the theme of the neighborhood. We didn't want to build anything that was modern or, outside of the look. So that's why we tried to build the house the way that we did. And we're just really appreciative to live where we live. So,
Thank you, Ms. Ninkratz.
yeah.
Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions?
I do. So I noticed a lot of the comparables that you used were after April 1st of 2018, but the ones that you did have within the reference periods, they were all 2.5 story homes, and none of them had the secondary suite either. Did you take that into consideration when you were kind of coming at your valuation?
Yeah, I mean, we built our house to look like a 2.5 story home, even though it is only a 2-story home. If you look at the picture, we built dormers in. That's just dormers in the attic. So we wanted to keep it in the look of the home. I mostly was looking at similar sized homes or homes that were within our location. Because I believe that's a good indicator of resale. And I realize none of them have a secondary suite, but they all have a finished basement. Which I understand a secondary suite does add a bit of a greater value, so I can understand that point. I don't believe our value is increased to the level that it's currently assessed at, though.
Okay, I don't believe I have any further questions. Thank you.
Well, do you have any questions?
Yes, I'm looking at the comparisons that you have offered that were sold on April 1st, 2018. And I noticed that they're all built between 1911 and 1913. Yeah. Yes. And yet the sales value is substantially higher than what you want for the assessment on your home, and I'm just wondering what your rationale for that is. You're asking for 756, is that, am I understanding that?
Well, I just picked what I thought was a comparable square footage and applied it to the square footage of my house. And the reason then that it's lower is that many of these comparables are much larger homes. So if you look at 141 Yale, 160 Yale, and 225 Drummer, even 136 Yale, which is the house next to me, they are a larger square foot in terms of living space, although the 136 Yale is close, like we're about 500 square feet. So I understand, like as I've presented it here, I may have presented a bit low, but I also wanted to emphasize that our house is, like I'm looking at using the same square foot, even a higher per square foot price than what these homes resold for to apply to our home. And these are my neighbors, not 225 Dromore and 172 Kingsway, but the 3 homes on Yale have all three of these homes have been updated and upgraded with new kitchens, new appliances, new finishings. I'll also say they all have quarter sawn oak hardwood floors. They have 18-inch baseboards that are solid oak. They have solid oak banisters in their, like they have very high-end finishings inside these homes that would be of value to a buyer.
The other question I had is you indicated that your home was not finished in 2019, but it is now finished, I'm assuming, in 2020.
The front yard and everything. So what was not finished was the front yard and the entrance, and that's finished now.
Okay. So what do you think the difference in the assessment for 2019 and 2020 should be as a result of that?
Well, I think that if you look at the value of what it was, like in terms of someone buying a house and they would have to do all the landscaping, finish the front porch and the parging. I mean, I think it's worth probably the market value. It should be reduced. Whatever the assessors determined my house to be valued in 2019, it should have, all I'm saying is either start the assessment later or reduce it May 1st because we didn't have the full value of the house for May 1st. And the landscaping and the parging, probably $25,000. That's probably what the value of those things were, to finish the porch, do the parging, and do the landscaping. Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Moretzky?
No questions.
In 2019, on May 1st, was the house move-inable?
Yes.
Where you were living there?
We were living there. We moved in March.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I believe, I'm not sure if it was Mr. Thiessen I talked to on the phone, but somebody had called me. Was it you, Mr.
It was me, yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice conversation, yeah. So and he explained that usually like they start the process or they start the taxation, I believe it's 2 months after you move in. And so we had moved in March.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have today.
Yeah, I just wanted to say can I just say one thing? Of course. Mr. Thiessen, you had said that most of my comparables were the ones I used for 2020 were after sales after 2018, but I did include the 4 that I used in 2019 with their time adjusted price to 2018. And I used those for the 2019 assessment. I used those prices based on the book value from 2016. But I didn't know what to do for 2019 because it was an in-between year. So if it's appropriate to use the time adjusted 2018 prices, I'm fine if that's what's considered, that's based on my 2020 presentation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming today.
Thank
You'll
you.
be hearing from us soon.
Thank you. Thank you for listening and sticking with it.
Yeah. Okay. We still have 59 John Pelland Road. Do we have Mr. Desjardins with us? Good afternoon, Mr. Desjardins. Can you hear?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You too.
Hi there, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, and you
All
can
right.
hear us fine now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience.
It's been a long haul.
Okay, so let us just get organized, and we'll move to your property at 59 John Pelland Road.
Yep.
And under appeal is the 2019 and the 2020 assessment, right?
Correct.
Okay, and we'll just get you sworn in as well.
Okay, so please state your full name. Rene Dujarly. And do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Thiessen, when you're ready with John Pelland Road, please.
Thank you. 59 John Pelland Road, roll number 0609-346-0620. It's a two-story build in Sage Creek, built in 2016, living area of 1887 square feet, has a full finished basement, has 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 1 shower, has central air, has a fireplace, has an attached garage, and multi-car garage, and has an in-ground swimming pool. The lot size is 4916 square feet. The comparables for 2019 are all in Sage Creek. They're all 2-story builds, built between 2012 and 2015, with a living area of 1790 square feet to 2403 square feet. Comps 2 and 4 do have finished basements, whereas comps 1 and 3 do not. The slight variation in the bathroom counts. There are no fireplaces at comp 1 and 2, but there are at 3 and 4. And none of these properties have in-ground pools. The lot size ranges between 3153 square feet to 5422 square feet. And comp 2 has a back lane and internal corner influence. The time-adjusted sale prices are between $431,300 to $518,400, which is on a square foot basis, $240.95 as a high and $215.73 as a low. With these comps in mind, I believe that the assessed value at $494,000 for the 2019 year is supported. And for the 2020 year, again, the comps are all in the Sage Creek neighborhood, all 2-story builds, built between 2012 and 2015. Living areas between 1846 square feet to 2034 square feet. The first 2 comps do not have finished basements, whereas the last 2 do. Again, bathroom counts are slightly different. Comp 3 does not have a fireplace. And again, none of these properties have an in-ground pool. The lot sizes of the comps are between 4739 square feet to 5279 per square, or 5279 square feet. The time-adjusted sale price for these properties is $447,600 to $496,400, which is on a square foot basis, $236.83 per square foot to $247.58 per square foot. The subject also sold in this reference period for the 2020 assessment year on November 15th of 2016 for $449,461, which would be a time-adjusted sale price of $463. And they have done work on the property since the purchase by pulling an in-ground pool permit and finishing the basement, adding a deck, and adding a central vacuum. I believe that as a result of this, the 2020 assessed value at $508,000 is also supported. Thank you.
Desjardins, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No.
Ms. Rempel?
I'm just wondering if you would have an estimate for me of how much an in-ground pool would add to the value of a pool.
I don't have an exact value. It would be something that would be input and determined based on the multiple regression model.
asking?
I have no questions.
Okay, Mr. Desjardins, on to your presentation.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate you pushing through lunch. So we'll talk about both of them at the same time, correct?
Sure, you bet.
Okay, so I've submitted to you guys comparative market analysis for two properties that sold this year. One that sold this year and one that sold in 2018. Both of them have pools, whereas the assessor's comparable properties, none of them did. So I thought that would be a good thing to have. 3 Moonbeam Way, which is in the same neighborhood as mine, Sage Creek, listed for $554.9, but sold for $537.5 for a price per square foot of $258.17. Currently, my 2009 assessment would put my home at $261.79 per square foot, and my 2020 assessment would have my home at $269.21 per square foot. So both of those higher than the Moonbeam Way home. The Moonbeam Way home is quite comparable, built slightly older, built in 2012, 2-story, same neighborhood, full basement, shingle roof. They do have some better flooring, like hardwoods and tiles than ours. Ours is purely laminate on the main floors and carpet in the upper floor. Everything else is almost exactly the same, aside from that house being slightly larger, and I believe a larger lot. The other home, 130 Sabarin Place. You can see that it was listed for $509.9 and went for above list at $525 for a price per square foot of $248.70. What I have done is take the $248.70 from 130 Sabarin and the $258.17 from Moonbeam and average them out at $253.44 per square foot. So taking $253.44 per square foot and multiplying by my home square footage, which is 1887, brought me to a assessed value of $478,241.28. So looking at the assessed value for 2019 of $494,000, that's $15,758 higher than what I feel my assessment should be. And the 2020 assessment value of $508,000 on my home is $29,758 higher than what I feel the assessment should be. It appears that the main difference between my home and all the comparable homes provided by the assessor is us having a pool. Everything else is pretty much apples to apples, and I just don't feel that the addition of a pool increases the value of my home by this amount. It certainly does increase it somewhat, but I don't feel this amount is justified. I also pulled from the website, the City of Winnipeg website, my neighbor's home directly beside mine, 55 John Pelland, has an assessed value in 2018 of $465,000, and their square footage is 2,142, which equals 217 per square foot. So you can see the discrepancy between that 217 and my 261 and 269 is quite large as well. If my home were assessed at 217 per square foot, it would only be assessed value of $409,000. Obviously, I have a finished basement. They do not, or at least I don't know if they do. They don't on that assessment, and they don't have a pool. So, but I don't feel that there's $100,000 worth of value more in my home because of the basement and the pool. One thing I wanted to note, the assessor mentioned that we've added the basement and the deck since buying the home. We added the basement and the deck into the sale price of the home when we bought it. It was negotiated as an add-on when we bought the house. So that was done by the builders before we moved in. So that sale price included the deck, the backyard landscaping, which was basically just sod, and finished basement, as well as insulating the garage, but not heated. I think that's all I've got for you guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Thiessen, do you have any questions?
I do, thank you. So you were mentioning that the deck and basement finish were added into the price of the home. Yeah. And I'm looking at the MLS listing and I see the sale price was actually 471.9, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a little bit different than what I had on my sale list. I guess that was added after the fact.
Right.
Besides that, the only thing that you actually did after the fact was adding the pool and the central vacuum, or was that?
Yes, we did add the central vac.
Okay.
Ourselves, yep.
So otherwise, the basement finish, the deck, and the full bathroom in the basement were all done as part of the buy.
The purchase price, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Also, for the comparables that you submitted, both of those sold after April 1st of 2018, correct?
Yes, the Moonbeam sold in, bear with me here. Sell date was July 2020 for 3 Moonbeam. And the sell date for 130 Sabarin was June 2018.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thiessen. Ms. Rempel, do you have any questions?
Just one. I maybe missed your calculations on this, but I'm wondering what you think would be fair for your assessment for 2019 and then for 2020.
Yeah, for 2019 and 2020, it's basically the same. I guess you could make it slightly lower for 2019, but based on the average per square foot price of my 2 comparable properties that I provided of $253.44 per square foot would put my assessed value at $478,241.28.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Moretzky?
I have no questions.
And I have no questions. So thank you very much, Mr. Desjardins, for hanging in there with us.
All right.
In your presentation today.
I just had one question. I know you sort of asked this question earlier, but is there some kind of metric that the city uses to calculate pool value?
Mr. Thiessen, do you want to answer that?
It's input into the model, and then multiple regression analysis determines what the actual value is. It's based on neighborhood, it's based on size of the pool, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And just the reading I've been doing online seems to suggest that a pool should increase the home value of your home by a max of about 7%, and also it can be a deterrent to the other buyers because some people don't want to deal with a pool, obviously, and there is expense to having a pool. So that was just my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The last one on our agenda today is 738 Buckingham Road. So has Mr. Noble? You have not heard from him?
No.
Okay. And Mr. Thiessen, have you happened to have heard from Mr. Noble?
I have not.
Well, let's, if you could give us the particulars of 738 Buckingham Road, please.
Okay. 738 Buckingham Road, roll number 0100272850. It is a 2-story build in Eric Coy neighborhood. It was built in 1968, total living area of 2016 square feet, has a full finished basement, 2 full baths, 1 half bath, has central air, has a fireplace and an attached multi-car garage. The lot size is 19,057 square feet. The comparables, they are all in the Eric Coy neighborhood, all 2-story builds, built between 1968 to 1987. The living area ranges between 1887 square feet to 2136 square feet. They also all have finished basements. The bathroom counts are slightly different depending on the property, and Comp 1 does not have central air. Otherwise, most of the characteristics are the same. Lot sizes range between 12,203 square feet to 19,107 square feet. Comp 2 has a medium traffic influence. Comp 3 has a bus route and heavy traffic influence, and same thing for Comp 4. The time adjusted sale price ranges between $400,100 to $556,300. The time adjusted per square foot ranges between $212.03 per square foot to $292.33 per square foot. And the 2021 assessment roll at $486,000 and the assessment per square foot at $241.07 is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Moretsky?
No questions.
And I have no questions. So thank you, Mr. Thiessen, for also hanging in there with us.
Thank you.
This meeting is now closed. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.